Hello to the people down in the chat. Waiting for someone to join. Perhaps somebody may be joining in a moment, or maybe not. I'm not sure. But yeah. Yeah, join panel. I add you, comrade. Oh, somebody's here. Who is it be? Yo, what's up?
Yo.
Yo, what's up? We just be live and shit.
Nice.
I found this girl on like Instagram or something, and she was like doing anti-tech videos. And she's like, I'm an atheist, but the tech people are the antichrist, and like we have to kill the AI and shit like that. I was like, so I invited her to come on your podcast. I'm waiting for her answer. Just let you know.
Nice.
I was like, yeah, definitely need to get this girl on. I think she has a good amount of followers. Like, I'm not sure, maybe like 10,000 or something like that. I can't remember exactly, but something like that. So I just give you a heads up. So
Yeah, I told my wife that I'm looking for like a female co-host,
hell yeah.
and she likes the idea. Yeah.
No, I think it's a really good idea. I mean,
Yeah.
I was actually trying to add like a picture of like a girl a video of a girl twerking, but it's kind of blocked out. So, but you kind of get the gist. It was like just to see like does the viewers count go up or not? Like, I'm like I don't really believe we should do that, but but I think that like female energy does definitely attract a very different energy, good and bad. You know, like it's something I think we should all be doing. You know, if I knew someone to do it, I would tell them to do it, but I don't know anybody. But hopefully, that's a thing for sure. I added this thumbnail here. It says psychos are the engineers on the top of the pyramid, the normies are in the middle, and the schizos are on the bottom. Actually, oh yeah, I sent you that video. I think the guy you thought he was like a black nationalist or something like that.
Yeah, like and judging by the topics and the name and some of the imagery.
I was kind of wanting to review something like that. I sent you this other thing about. It's weird because like a lot of this academic stuff is good, but it's so subtle that like I don't think anybody's going to understand what they're really saying. You know. But if but that doesn't that's never stopped us before. But let's see, because I sent you the one about the internet as Gramsci. Let's see. Doctor says that screen time hurts cognitive development. You sent me the one that said, "You so-called Christians, you are being lied to." Oh yeah, here's the one: the hidden war, the normie versus schizo versus psycho. And I think there's somebody sending out talking points because I've seen somebody use this exact same terminology in the
Right.
last like
Yeah, yeah,
2 or 3
yeah.
days. It's
Yeah, the
crazy. It's like,
Hyperborean knowledge guy.
oh, I saw somebody else. I'm seeing like multiple people all using this exact phraseology or some shit. It's really
Yeah, but what's weird is like
interesting.
um Drew and all these guys, they were using it like a year or two ago. So they were saying like
Really?
schizo maxing and all this. Yeah, I remember like TBE like made a video where he put me on the thumbnail and he was like schizo maxing.
Yeah, that's bizarre.
So it's kind of like, yeah, it's like they were like doing that already like a long time ago. But you know, like the whole schizo analysis from Deleuze and
Huh.
Guattari.
Yeah. Say again?
Schizo analysis from Deleuze and Guattari. So it's like this.
Never heard
It's
of it.
yeah. There's a whole link to accelerationism with schizo analysis.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, it's really funny because I've always hated the term like schizo and stuff, but then it's just funny. It's like,
Yeah, check this out. Yeah,
yeah,
this one from Hyperborean Knowledge says schizo versus psycho versus normie. Who wins?
yeah, that's exactly what this video is doing.
So it's like they
That's what
got
I'm
the
saying. Is like
same.
somebody's sending out a fucking memo for sure. Like, there's
Yeah,
no way it's not. Yeah,
and his shit is 13 days ago. And then it says, I mean, then the
and
first
this one's
comment
like
says,
8 days ago or something,
yeah, and then
6
the
days
first
ago.
comment says 2026 is the year of the schizomaxer, which is the same term that TBE used like a year ago when he put me on the thumbnail. So I'm like,
Right. Yeah,
and then he also had, like TBE used a quote by Deleuze and Guattari about schizoanalysis in the beginning of his show.
like Deleuze
I
is in like the like weird guy or whatever, like
Yeah,
the
the
analytical
postmodern
philosophy
philosopher.
guy.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
postmodern
that's so
philosopher
weird. See,
from the
that's really
Frankfurt
weird.
School. Yeah, from the
Right.
Frankfurt School. Yeah.
Yeah, see, that's really weird because the only person I know who does that is Pill Eater, because Pill Eater always uses like his rhizome theory to make his points. So I'm sitting there thinking like,
Yeah.
because like here's the thing is like Pill Eater can't even believe how much of these people are all using the same talking points, and he's like been inside of it. He's like, why? Like, who are all these people? Like, they're like, why are they all like the content's it's weird because the more I've been on like TikTok and Instagram, just kind of like browsing, I'm like, it's so weird how like all these people are using the exact same talking points, but they never say like, well, you know, I read this book and it inspired me. It's like I just woke up, I rolled out of bed this morning and I had this like, 500-word essay in my head. I just wanted to tell you guys or something. It's like it's really bizarre. Like that's what I'm saying. Like it's like they make it seem like they're rolling out of bed and just like off the top of their head, like making shit up. And
Yeah, here I have it right
I
here.
can't believe it, essentially.
I put it in the back here.
Okay, cool. Let's see it. Because I sent you one in the back to in the private chat too. So let's compare and contrast. Let's see if this is just a quote. I see.
Yeah, this is from TBE's show.
Philosophy has an affinity with despotism due to its predilection for Platonic, fascist, top-down solutions that always screw up viciously. Schizoanalysis works differently. It avoids ideas and sticks to diagrams, networking software for accessing
Bodies without
something,
organs.
bodies without organs. Okay. And he has his eyes behind it and everything? Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, like I said, he's definitely like some sort of weird academic guy or something,
Yeah,
like
he's
for
like
sure. Yeah.
yeah, he's quoting like capitalism and schizophrenia like in the show, which is one of the one of the main credos like of like accelerationist philosophy. Like Nick
Right.
Land uses it all the time.
Like
So-
AKA like techno Bolshevism or something.
right,
Like,
exactly.
which is kind of funny to me because it's like, okay, like it's like anybody who is a real techno Bolshevik would probably keep their mouth shut, right? Like they wouldn't say all this stuff, some like gold slaw and which, well, I guess maybe I'm proving my own point. Let's see. Uh, well, I guess why would you signal this openly? As I guess is my question. Very very strange.
Yeah, I'll show you this one too. Maybe
Good,
we
how are
could
you?
watch both of them. Because I guarantee they'll make like it'd be funny if they make the same exact points. Right.
Right. Well, I'm pretty sure they will because that's what I'm saying is like I was watching this other random video. I have them all saved. I just don't want to like send you like 10 links, but like I have a bunch of them saved and it's like it's just insane. The talking points are almost exactly what this video said. And I was like, how is that possible that all these people are saying like almost verbatim the same shit, but kind of in their own words? And and it's like all these topics and it's I guess that's the I think the new economy is like literally like psyop agents that are getting paid like $400 a month to make random videos or something. I mean, I guess that's how it's gonna go, or I don't know. I almost want to like see if I can like get a position as a official psyoper and see like okay how like I get paid $20 to make this video. If it hits bigger, you're gonna get like 20 grand or something like. I think you get paid by the views or something. So I
Yeah,
guess they have like a lot of these academics who are getting paid by the views or something, I guess.
and think about it, like it's like that quote is saying schizoanalysis. It's saying it's a preferable option, just as in this pyramid, it seems that schizo is the preferable mode, right? Because psycho's ruling over the normie. He's even facing towards him. The schizo has his back turns towards the whole thing. And it's
Well,
kind of
see,
like,
this is what makes me suspicious is because like one of my arguments for the past few years, even before I met you to some degree, was although it was less like clear, I would say like, well, maybe they need people like us as kind of like an X factor to like break up the monotony. And this is kind of coming from a neuromancer too. I think neuromancer kind of makes this case in a way where it's like the people who are kind of outside of the box help test the systems, right? Because then the system can adapt. Because normies won't rock the boat, and psychos will only allocate what's best for them, at least in the short or long term, right? But then the system can't stabilize that way, right? Between these two. So they need people in the middle who kind of do it. So the new middle class is I mean, what people would call schizophrenics, essentially. But of course, that doesn't mean that you're going to get paid for it. It just means that you're going to have a somewhat elevated status in some way. It doesn't mean that it's like necessarily good for you, right? But I think that's maybe why they're letting people like Nick Fuentes and people like this run loose is, to give encouragement for for people to come out of the woodwork and participate, I guess. But yeah, let's see.
yeah, and I think like the real battles between like, like the trans, like like Earthseed people, like the Terrasim people, and then like on the other side, I think you have like the Nazi like Nick Land people, but they both
Oh
want
my
transhumanism.
God,
Right?
you actually just reminded me of a really good. Yeah, you're right. Actually, you're 100% right. And I'll show you evidence of that, which is kind of weird. That we can look at after this thing. Because I
Yeah,
actually wanted
where
to cover this with you. You'll find this very interesting. Go ahead. Sorry. Continue.
no, just like it's because on the left, because they're leftists and then there's right people, but they both support technological progress. So obviously that's
Right. Let's see here. Can you if you don't want to watch that video, it's cool with me. I don't care. But if you don't want to watch that one, bring up this article and let's cover this article. I wanted to get your take on this. By the way, I put like 100 hashtags in my description, and I think it's working because I have 7 viewers. So there might be something to that. Oh shit! Well, he dropped out. Must be a Kanye West fan. Hello. Hello. I can't hear you.
Yo,
Yeah, what's up? Machine
nothing.
dropped out. I said he's
yeah,
a
sorry
Kanye
about
West
that.
fan.
I saw that little diagram. I've seen people say, put those people in that diagram before. And I think one would be like empath, and one would
Yeah,
be like narcissist, and another one would be like psycho.
yeah. Yeah, I've seen that too. Yeah, yeah. There's different like,
Sounds like a Pokemon game. Like you pick your own Pokemon.
but what's weird is that they're all like, I don't know. It seemed like
Schizo, I choose you.
Yeah, but it's like being an armchair psychologist is pretty like dangerous, right? Not
But
that
yeah, I was
being a
gonna say let's
legit.
cover this video a little bit. We don't have to watch the whole thing, but just to get a gist, because I think this is
Yeah.
extremely
Can you hear me?
strange talking points, I would say. Like I think it's somewhat true, but
Yeah, I
it's
don't think
also
you can
like
hear me at
it
all,
seems
yo.
very purposeful. Like it's kind of being purposefully framed in a certain way, and I can't quite put my finger on it.
I can hear you, machine.
Yeah, I don't think.
Oh, I
Sorry.
can't hear you. I can't hear you. Sorry.
Yeah.
Let me reset my audio. I'll be right back.
Yeah, he's got to reset his thing and come back. This shit. Technical difficulties, but yeah, it's weird. Me and Neuro found 2 videos that say the same exact shit, but one of them
Nero,
I think is a yeah, like
can you hear either I or machine?
Okay.
yeah, he's
Let
here
me
now.
Okay, I can hear you now. Okay, cool. Yeah, sorry about that. I don't know what's happening. It's like whenever you and I are on stream, there's always audio issues. But if you do a stream or I do a stream independently, there's not. So something going
But
on.
I've seen
Something.
it happen on other channels, so it's you know.
Yeah, bizarre. But sorry, I didn't hear what you were saying. So sorry if I was interrupting.
And I heard you guys were saying a bunch of people were saying the same thing, which I don't pick up on that stuff because I don't hear all the other good people.
Well, it's because you have a healthier attitude, a healthier relationship with social media than I do for sure.
Yeah. So yeah, so let's check it out. Let's see what the basic thesis is here. As I said, I think it has a lot to do with you know, the whole schizoanalysis thing from capitalism and schizophrenia, right? And that being used by Nick Land and obviously you know, I've laid out earlier on this show, I sort of explained to Claudia, you know, my whole thesis about accelerationism and Discordianism and how both sides are sort of 2 different aspects of futurism, right? And how they want to proliferate their ideology. Yep.
Axis before, but I really want to give a full breakdown of this dynamic because it is very important to the topics we talk about. The schizo beats the psycho beats the normie beats the schizo. And this also has hybrid classes in between too, which we will take a look at, but it's really the crux of everything. Now, we can see here there are different characteristics of each path, okay? Each character, if you will. And though these 2 are really the player characters in this, a lot of the interactions they have all depends on the normie. So the normie really is the axis of which how these 2 play out their lives, okay? The psycho, skilled at manipulating and influencing others, creates the current thing, treats others as livestock, blinded by hubris. Now, the psycho, if you don't already know, these DSM terms are bunk, and I don't like to use them, but this is like the internet slang. A lot of people don't like when I say schizo because they, you know, have a relative or they know somebody diagnosed with the illness. But this is just the internet label that I'm using, and I'm using it as armor. Like my favorite chapter of A Song of Ice and Fire, bastards, cripples, and broken things, whatever they call you, use it as a shield, use it as a badge, wear it as your armor. So that's just really what it is. Another term you could just use instead would be mystic versus demon or vampire versus Hylic or golem or whatever you want to call that. So the schizo really is just an energy vampire, a demon, somebody who seeks to siphon and loosh farm and absorb the energies of the normie for their own will, to dominate, to seek control. They are skilled at this because a lot of them growing up especially if they're because there's a hierarchy as well. There's a hierarchy of psychos, there's a hierarchy of schizos, and there's even a hierarchy of normies. The peak schizo is in these families where they undergo some form of ritual abuse, and that increases their psycho tendencies. So they undergo things like monarch mind control, which gives them alters. And the psycho you deal with, the psycho you see, is not the real psycho. You're dealing with the normie alter of the psycho when you're dealing with them. Okay. They know how to wear the normie mask in order to exploit the normies for their loosh, their energy, or whatever they want to get out of them. Because essentially they're the livestock which they need. And that's the weakness. Everybody has a weakness here, okay? And even though the psycho does beat the normie, its weakness, the psycho's weakness, is that they are dependent on the normie for sustenance. So if they're ever exposed, if they ever lose their drip supply, their dopamine drip, the normie drip, that's their downfall. Because without the normie, the psycho, the vampire, starves and they can't thrive anymore. So that is one way that the schizo knows how to beat the psycho, is that the schizo is excellent at pattern recognition. That is the main trait of the schizo. That is their main buff, is their ability to connect dots. And one of the dots they know how to connect is when they see people being psychos, when they see people exploiting people, especially the elite caste of the psycho, which they study because they know that they're going through these ritual abuse, coming of age ceremonies, and that really increases their ability to break down. Because even in mainstream psychology, they say, you know, psychopathy comes from abuse. That's like the biggest trait when they know that someone's going to be a psycho, is when they have undergone a massive amount of abuse in their childhood. But from this dynamic that we're talking about here, psycho being a vampire demon, we know that part of these rituals are also invoking entities to take them over. Okay, so there's a lot involved in the development of a true elite cast of psycho. And if we look at the schizo, okay, we can look at some of the traits here. Immunity to propaganda, increased pattern recognition, the quote-unquote chosen ones, socially rejected and stigmatized. So the schizo really can pick up on patterns, and even the face. The schizo has a face. We know what if you are what I am, you know the face that we're talking about. You can see it, especially across the eyes. You know, the pattern recognition is there, so you know what I'm talking about if you can see it. Normies are unfortunately very face blind. Sure, they can see so if someone's ugly or attractive, but the schizo doesn't just see people on the axis of attractiveness. The schizo can see everything. They can see if they're a North Pontid. They can see if they're an Atlantid. They can see if they're a Nordid. They can see if they're a demon, if they're a psycho, if they're a normie. The schizo can just like face reading. Now, I don't know like the actual dynamics of like the face reading. I'm just intuitively good at it. But there's schizos out there who like face read and they know like the whole dynamics and the ins and outs. And I'm not talking about like the maxillas and the orbital bone.
See, he's classifying himself as the second one. So I already called that. Right, that he's saying that schizo is a preferable option. Right, so
Yeah, well, I agree, and but there's a lot of weird stuff in here too. So like, I kind of reject this outright for one reason. It's like it's literally saying, "Well, I don't believe in the DSM." Now let me go ahead and diagnose these people as like another pseudo DSM version of internet culture or something. I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's like so. He's literally performatively contradicting himself right off the bat. You know, so And he's putting a negative stigma on it as he's saying, "Oh, I don't want to put a negative stigma on it. This is just a fact." It's like it's very, I don't know. It's very bizarre. Honestly, it's all just framing. Yeah, whoever you are, a supporter, I agree with you. Yeah. If you're talking machine, I can't hear you. Let me reset my thing.
Yeah, no, I can. No, can you hear me? Oh man.
Okay, I'm back. Are you talking? Is machine talking?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah,
I just want
just
to make
saying
sure
that.
my audio is still coming through. I mean, I can still hear you. My bad.
Yeah, just saying that this guy's most likely not a schizo. He's most likely closer to a psycho. He most likely doesn't know what a schizo is, and I'm willing to bet that the psychos are actually just closer to normies.
Yeah, I pretty much agree. I mean, I think there's a fine line between a normie and a schizo. I mean, a normie and a psycho. Because here's the thing with the schizo thing, like you have a range of emotions, but see, psychopaths they don't have a range of emotions, right? And I think normies similarly don't have a range of emotions, generally speaking. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but I mean, I don't want to really jump into this kind of weird classification game. Really, it's a.
As proof
I
that
just
he's a
think it's
psycho. Yeah, like as
there's
proof
some
that he's a
other reason
psycho.
he's doing this. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, as proof that he is a psycho, I'd cite his almost 50,000 subscribers. So yeah.
Yeah.
Like you're a
Well,
psycho
there's
pretending to
some
be a
ulterior
normie.
motive.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some sort of ulterior motive to all this for sure. Like this is not just like some guy who's like, well, I just want to explain this to you. It's like, no. Clearly there's something
Yeah.
else going on.
Yeah, he's a psycho pretending to be a normie. I'll call it right now. And making this video, LARPing as a schizo, trying to produce schizos because those are the benign type for psychos. Right. Meanwhile, he wants people to think that if there's enough schizos, the psychos won't have power. Yeah, right.
Well, what's funny is like I've been commenting on a lot of these like other social media videos because YouTube is very weird. Like I feel like it is the most like sane social media that's for the most part. Maybe Substack's a close second to some degree, but uh, it's you comment on some of these things and you ask something like I saw this woman, for example, she's like, um, most men have committed rape without even realizing it because they just gives all these reasons about like, you know, fake scenarios where I mean not fake scenarios, but just random scenarios where consent hasn't been given. And I asked I just asked the question, I said, can you define consent? And the amount of people that just get like ragingly angry because you say, can you define that word? Right? Uh, you know what I mean? It's like if somebody's using a word and you ask them to define it and they get ragingly angry at you, like I understand why they're doing it, but I'm saying like it kind of proves the point that they're not really being genuine, right? You see what I'm saying? Uh, yeah, and again, like I understand that this grape is a real thing. I understand that consent, is one of these buzz terms that everybody's using, for the fact that it's basically a rage bait term. But it's like if you try to like really try to understand what exactly are you saying, people rage against you because they don't want to actually get into the details of like, well, is this something that's a larger part of a larger message that you're trying to drive home? Because almost every time it's like rad femme, don't be with men, don't get married, don't have kids, and if you do, make sure that he's rich so you can sue him and take half his money and be fine on your own. Or it's like a part of a whole ecosystem of ideas, right? And and you can apply this to almost everything we're looking at on the internet right now, I would say, right? But then if I make my quote unquote schizophrenic videos that are just, like a meme mixed with a video mixed with some music, people say, oh, this looks like something that a mentally ill person would say. And I say, well, why? And they don't have an answer. And I'm like, okay, so because you don't understand the art, now it's schizophrenic, right? Or now it's a crazy person, right? So I don't know. It's just very interesting how quickly everybody reacts uh, to just basic questions and shit.
Yeah, it's just weird. I just reject the premise that he's trying to frame this like if there's enough schizos, then the psychos won't have power. But I don't know. They can switch between being a normie. So if there's enough psychos, how come it won't just balance out? I don't know. Yeah. I'll just play some of this video.
Bones, I'm talking about like actual face reading as a occult art, essentially. So immune to propaganda, of course. That's what we do. We call out propaganda. Now, of course, I'm going to say we. Now that so many people say, well, you're a normie, no, you're this, you're that. Well, I think everybody kind of has a little bit of everything in them. And really, it's just what your dominant trait is. Okay. I've had times where I'm in the normie cryo chamber and I'm just like shut out of life and I'm watching Dragon Ball Z. But, everybody kind of has their own dominant trait. And it's fluid too. Not so much for this cast, but the normie and the psycho and the schizo can definitely shift around a lot more. And we'll get into the hybrid classes. The hybrid classes being the schizo curious normie, the lunatic, and the bully. But we will break down those more as we go along. But the schizo has weaknesses. The schizo has, like, the psycho has a buff. Okay, the psycho's buff is that they're immune to anxiety. They're immune.
Yeah, and then when he combined the other three, that's probably the majority of the society, right? Where he's like, oh, there's these three dominant types, and then there's these three that are combinations between the three, but that's probably most of what the people are. Like there's probably a lot more, like the schizos are probably relatively few. There's probably like one or two of them around, but the schizo like curious normie, that's going to be almost all of the schizos most likely. All right, so I don't know.
To empathy, which can be for their dynamic and what they want, which is to dominate and manipulate. Obviously, that's a huge buff for their overall quest in life. The schizo, he has his buffs, immune to propaganda, amazing pattern recognition, but his debuffs are that the schizo is, prone to anxiety, prone to depression, prone to being socially rejected and stigmatized. And that's a lot of why that the normie overall beats the schizo, because first of all, you can't beat the herd. The normie outnumbers you 100-1. The normie will always be able to try to police, thought police, to shame, to isolate, to deplatform, to do whatever they can to stop this little guy from, wearing his little hat. Now,
and you think you're that little guy with that little hat. I mean, it's all too clear that you're not. You're either a normie or a psycho. But yeah, all right.
of course, like the tinfoil hat thing, we can get into that. So it's like an egregore. The schizo is an egregore. They have been, put into a thought form in the normie's head. And what this really is just kind of making fun of the thought form, like, yeah, the tinfoil hat. It's making fun of the normie conception of what a schizo is. So that's kind of like the real thing that's going on here. And we'll look at some image, because in every movie, horror movie or action movie or whatever, this dynamic really plays out. If you ever want to write a good story, the dynamics between these three is really what you want to play on, because it's always the schizo who recognizes what's going on here, and he tries to warn the normie as to what's going on with that. And after about a couple, scenes of the normie getting his energetic cheeks clapped by the schizo, by the psycho, he finally believes the schizo. So only after the normie get his cheeks clapped by the psycho will the schizo be proven correct. And oftentimes it's too late. Okay, so that's every movie. That's every like thriller, horror movie. And that's really a big axis of how the dynamics of mankind work out. Okay. The normie enforces social norms. Susceptible to manipulation, supports the current thing.
There's also 3 tiers here. Right. And it's hauntingly suspicious in terms of, it seems like Plato's Republic, right? Because the guardians are always the heroes. So the schizos seem to be the guardians, right? Whereas the psychos seem to be the people that are controlling the guardians, and the normies seem to be the working, the workers, right? So, I mean, it's pretty obvious here that this 3-tiered system, right? And who are all the movies made about? It's always made about the cop, or the military officer who realizes that the people in charge are doing the wrong thing, and then he wants to warn the normie about it. So this is kind of what he's talking about. The dynamic between the schizo trying to warn the normie, but of course the schizo is always the cop. He's always the military officer in the movies, right? So I mean, it just goes to show you, right, that the person who's going to question the psycho is going to be a bootlicking guy who's in the system in the first place, that finds out something bad going on and then tries to warn the normal people, But yeah, it is what it is.
Ignorance is bliss, okay? But the normie has buffs. There's safety in the herd. There's safety in the herd. You can even thrive in the herd. You can have a nice, comfy life. You can do all the right things. You can say all the right things. You can have all the right beliefs. And that is a benefit to you personally. Now, maybe society won't pan out in a positive direction, and the psycho will be able to dominate, take advantage of, and siphon. But overall, there's a lot of buffs involved in being a normie. But the debuff being they are highly susceptible to propaganda, manipulation, moral shaming, what's right, what's wrong. The signs of the times dominate the normie's mind.
Factor just solved my boring dinner problem. With over 100 weekly options, I never have to eat the same thing twice. Asian.
And these dynamics can even play out in your own family. If you have normie family members, if you have schizo family members, if you have psycho family members, these dynamics can play out, and there's also tons of media examples of how this plays out too. A great example is Hereditary. If you haven't seen it, I suggest you do, though it is pretty creepy. Now, the mom to me is a low tier schizo, okay? She goes to a psychic after her daughter dies to find out if there's an afterlife. That is pretty low tier schizo behavior, okay? The dad is a normie, okay? You have people spazzing out, you have spirits running around, you have things flying off tables, and he's still denying it. He's still denying what's right in front of his eyes, and that's what the normie will do no matter what. There could be somebody convulsing in front of them, yelling out Latin, and they will still deny the existence of anything demonic, anything out there that might be supernatural. Now, here's what I noticed about this movie that not a lot of people have. He was always Pieman, and the movie is really his hero's or anti-hero's arc, I should say, into becoming the full Pieman embodiment. He was always a Pieman, he was always a psycho, he was always a demon. And, the ritual sacrifice of his sister was always part of the plan, in my estimation. Because you can kind of see also the dynamics of how they deal with losing the daughter. Okay, the schizo woman is absolutely broken. Like, you can just tell. Like, that's the thing about schizos, is that they're really attached to people they care about. They love people they care about. It's like, it's way more than regular. The normie dad is grieving, but it's not at the same level. And he quickly moves on. You can tell he quickly moves on with his life. He doesn't, it's not dominating his psyche. Like, she has to go to psychics, she has to go to therapy, she has to go to everything. Meanwhile, he's the reason why she dies. He's not going to all this extent. He's largely moving on, living his life, although, going through a demonic possession. But he's really, and a lot of it, he's shown in a good light. And that's what I see in a lot of these movies, is that the psycho is really being celebrated in today's media. Whereas before, there was a lot more movies. Look at They Live. They Live, the schizo's journey was a lot more celebrated. But you can see now more and more that psychopathy is more and more celebrated, or, vampirism is a lot more celebrated. Again, you're using these terms and these mental health terms, when in reality, it's more of a demonic aspect going on. But yeah, these dynamics can play out in your own family. I mean, you're going to be having normies just deny everything in front of their own eyes until it's too late and they get their cheeks clapped by demons. So that is this movie, and the celebration of the psycho. Again, you see it over and over again. And I think it's because we're becoming more of a psychopathic society. We're becoming more of a demonic society, where the demons are the hero, or what they want to call anti-heroes, whatnot. People are really obsessed with this now. And they're always, I've noticed too, it goes back to kind of my Michael Cera analysis days, where these little dweeb guys who are actually psychos are always shown in a good light, but in reality, the entire movie is just them manipulating people and trying to dominate people and try to weasel their way around these social dynamics. And they're really skilled at it too. So you kind of have this, that's the thing, because they want to make Patrick Bateman look like the psycho. They want to make Dolph Lundgren look like the psycho. In reality, it's more like these little dweebs who are the real psychos running around, right? So yeah, all these Patrick Bateman edits, and I don't think it's a one-to-one at all, really. Sure, there's going to be a spectrum, but I think you're going to see a lot more of.
Yeah, and that's what's weird. It's like, I don't know, is Joker a schizo or a psycho? It's just really weird that he is being celebrated. Like, the villains are being celebrated. like the villain will have his own like series, right? So I mean, this is like a really nuanced time, and I don't really think like, but yeah, he's absolutely right that the psychos are being portrayed in the movies as the good guys, right? Where the schizos used to be celebrated, you know. I think the classic schizo is kind of like the I want to sing a owl, right? Because he's like he understands, like he wants to sing, and like his family doesn't understand him, and like I don't know if you guys ever seen that cartoon with Al Jolson, where the owl really wants to sing. It's like such a great cartoon.
These types running around.
I've never seen it.
Another perfect example is They Live. Okay, you have the hero. He undergoes a schizo's journey, if you will. He is awakened to the demonic, the alien, the archon element within the world. He tries to warn the normies. They don't listen to him. He ultimately defeats the psycho, but who defeats him in the end? It's the normie. The normie kills him in the end, okay? He's defeated by the normie, and this is the engine in which a lot of narratives are formed. And, even if you may defeat the arch enemy, okay, you might just end up succumbing to the herd anyway. So that's why I think the true schizo arc should be to awakening dormant schizos out of their Cairo chambers. That should be the aim of the schizo, okay? Of course, the psycho arc is going to always be to siphon as much loosh energy they can from the normie, and the normie life is to live in comfort and peace and prosperity, which, is understandable. I understand why people would want to pursue that over, living a life like this. Of course, the schizo really is just an egregore in the normie's mind. That's why the tinfoil hat is there. It's just a symbol. Always wear what they call you with a badge of honor. Again, a notable example of the schizo would be Terry Davis, okay? I mean, people want to think he's crazy. People want to say, whatever, but he certainly was not a fool. He was brilliant. He wrote his own OS, okay? Like, he wasn't, like, that's the thing about schizos, is that in the mind of the normie, they're fools, they're dumb, they're weird. But a lot of them, like, he was an elite, okay? Schizo mogs me to oblivion. He was brilliant, and it's very sad what happened to him. Very, very sad what happened to him. But of course, that is the vulnerability of the schizo, as the social isolation. The social isolation becomes a disease within itself, and then you can kind of lose yourself in that. And that's really what happened, I think. Of course, I think there's a lot more happening behind the scenes as well that we aren't privy to. But a dynamic of it too is the social isolation aspect. Very sad what happened to him, but of course he was not a fool. He was not, insane. You can't operate at that level if you are like, dumb. So, because, and I've noticed a lot too, is that really hyper political people really, really are now clamping down on schizo takes and schizoism and whatever you want to call it, mystics. They want everything to be able to be explained in the lens and the framing of politics. This group just wants power because of this, because they just want more resources for themselves. Everything is just explained in the dynamics of group politics. But as we know, there's a lot more levels to this reality than just the political sphere. And these hyper political people really, really don't like schizos, and they use normie shaming tactics against us. They call us stupid, they call us dumb, they call us, crazy out there. So politics is really normie tier at this point. And a lot of these guys are this, and they don't want anybody interfering with their harvest. So, of course, anybody calling out the political scene as just being make-believe.
Okay, so how's my audio right now? Is it better than
Yeah, it's good.
usual?
Yeah, it's
Okay,
all
good. Okay, that means that something's actually working right for once. Perfect. Awesome. Okay. So my audio's crystal clear right now, right?
Well, I mean, I can
Better.
hear you. I mean,
Can you hear yourself talking?
yeah.
Okay, sorry about that. Okay, so but yeah, so this is really weird because this is like almost verbatim what this other guy I sent you is saying. I mean I didn't watch really much of the video, but like it seems to be like almost exactly what this other dude said. So that's pretty weird.
About politics, about normies being into politics.
Yep. Well, yeah, so I guess let's just finish this one and then I'll show you. We'll compare and contrast this one versus the other.
Yeah, exactly. That's the plan. Yeah. I'm gonna play the next one
because it's crazy, like how similar this seems to be.
And then we can sort of conjecture like how these two groups may be connected, because it's pretty clear that the coordination is off the chain. Right?
Yeah, that like, and then I'll show you other examples of totally different things that seem like there's coordination with these talking points as well. And then you're like, okay, so like this is like it's like, are they trying to induce mass schizophrenia?
Sort of profiling. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Right. Because they're clearly saying the schizo is a good one. He's a good guy in all this. All right. Whereas like, I should have saved that thumbnail, that TVE made where it says schizo maxing, where it had me on the thumbnail. Honestly, I should have saved that.
A game, a charade, a bunch of people acting and play acting. They get really, really mad when you start calling that out because you're interrupting their louche feast. So yeah, they're going to use normie shaming tactics against you. And they're going to get their cronies and their bully hybrid people to attack you as well. So let's take a look at the hybrid classes. Okay, we got the Dark Magician or the Lunatic. Could go either way. But essentially what it is a psycho who has undergone the occult knowledge of the schizo and is now using that to enable him to dominate normies to a higher degree. Okay, there's that one. And then there's the Lunatic, where it's more like the Joker and they just kind of want to see the world burn. They're not really interested in climbing the hierarchy and dominating normies. They just want everything just to kind of burn to the ground. And so that's our think what the Joker is. Because the Batman's kind of like a schizo. Let's be real. Okay, he's got visions of bats. He's hunting down psychopaths all day. And he has been completely ostracized by normie society. In order for him to even go out in the normie society, he has to wear a normie mask. Okay. The hybrid between the psycho and the normie would have to be the crony or the bully. Because psychopaths, let's give it to them, they're intelligent, they're charismatic, they can see how the incentive structure of normie society is used, so they hijack that. But psycho normie hybrid is not intelligent. He's not highly charismatic. He's a bully. He wants to dominate normies, but he just isn't quite at the level of a psycho, and so he becomes a crony, often working for psychos in order to at least give him some semblance of a louche feast for him to dominate the normies. And then we kind of have the schizo-curious normie hybrid here, and they are the people who like low-tier, low-hanging fruit conspiracies, Bigfoot, UFOs, Loch Ness Monster, stuff like that. And they're really drawn to infotainment type of stuff. They're not going to go super deep into the dynamics of what makes up this reality. They're not going to look into things that are very compelling. They just want things that are sensational. They like glamour, they like glitz, they want things, aliens building pyramids, they want stuff like that. And it's these types really who dominate the infosphere. Schizos are too wrapped up in nitty little details of archons and how different energy structures work and what.
Yeah, so I mean, there's obviously a problem with defining everybody like this, right? Like, there's many people I see that don't fit any of these. You know, right? So, like a lot of people I know, they don't really fit any of these. So,
plane we're on, and just very specific things. Whereas the schizocurious normie, the glitz and the glam, the explosions and the boom pow really elevates them into the dominant scene of.
I think like maybe they should replace normie with like autistic or something like that. There's not really normies. There's no such thing as normal, right? There's not a normie there. Yeah, there's just people who are really dumb. There's people who are really crazy, and there's people who are really motivated. Right? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and the motivated people are doing all the fucked up shit. I mean, yes, that's true. But like, that doesn't mean like dumb people aren't to blame for most of it. For allowing it, right? And crazy people, they're not free just because they, aren't motivated or dumb. They're delusional. All the schizos are actually crazy delusional people that think they know what's going on, but they really don't. Whereas he's styling it as, oh, these schizos, they know what's going on. And, oh, the psycho, they just don't want there to be that many schizos. Yeah, that's right. These guys are spreading schizophrenia. Like, they want it to spread. It's weird. They want you to be a disempowered halfwit, that is
100%
satisfied
agree.
with your own madness.
Yeah, 100% agree. And I say that as somebody who's like actively pursued quote unquote schizophrenic knowledge. Like, I can tell you, it's definitely, they're inflicting this on you to produce people that are so fucking bludgeoned. I mean, read 1984 and see how they like bludgeon. Like, they see, here's the thing is, they didn't want to kill Winston Smith. They wanted to crush him so he could never be an example, right? I think that's the whole point of 1984. Like, they want to break your mind and make you love it, so then you become anesthetized to it, essentially, right? Like, and then they can find the pattern of like what makes you different than other people, and then crush it in you, right? Because O'Brien is really just a pure psychopath who doesn't really feel anything, even for himself, really. Like, he's a basically selfless person who's like become like the ultimate inverted altruism, where it's like, well, I'll just crush everything about you to make you conform with the party or something. I mean, that's why 1984 is like extremely, important. It's probably one of the most important things ever written, because it just exactly explains like that they don't want to kill people, right? Like, this is the thing, is people think they want to kill people. No, I mean, they might do it here and there, but I think the primary goal is to get you to love schizophrenia. Basically, that's what I think it is.
Yeah, because I don't necessarily see quote unquote psychos. They're not crazy in any way. They're just highly motivated people that think they're doing the right thing. Whereas the schizos are really self-satisfied in their own madness. Right? They're like really like arrogantly think that them knowing what's going on is going to help change anything. Whereas the normie, like, they don't really give a fuck what's going on. Like, they'll just do whatever They just want to enjoy themselves. So they're stupid because they don't understand the dangers and them just fucking everything off.
Well, that's why I wasn't really like super offended when people called me Normie Jack or something. I was like, honestly, like I envy a lot about normies. To be honest with, like, I mean, I kind of wish that I could just turn it all off and try to live a normal life ish. Whatever that means, I don't know, but just try to not, even if that means like being like a mountain man or something, or just someone who just turns everything off and just ignores it all. Like, I think that's an enviable ability.
Yeah, and that's what's weird is like the psychos think that you're a normie and that I'm a schizo. So it's like, what does it matter? That's an oversimplification of what's going on. Like the same psycho will look at the two of us differently. But it doesn't really matter, right? I don't think there's really a such thing as psychos. They're super normal people. Right? Like,
Right. The ultimate psycho is the ultra normie.
yeah, it's like,
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's kind of like what people like. It's kind of funny to me. It's kind of funny that people say that, like, well, the rulers are like all these like super psychopathic people. It's like that may be true potentially, but I think the most of the people that you see who are like in a position of power, they're just extremely normal people that have just just totally given up. I mean, they just basically like, I do this, I get this, I do this, I get this. Like they've just become kind of roboticized or something. Like I don't necessarily think it's like psychopathic in the sense like, they're actively thinking like, how do I screw over the next person, or I just don't like people or something. I don't think it's necessarily that. I don't think it comes from like an extreme like misandry or something. Like I think there probably are people like that, but I don't think you can, kind of what he said about Charlie. Like I don't think you can be at that high of a level and just be a total psychopath. Like I think you still have to have some sort of normalcy within you.
yeah, I mean, it's just a huge problem that this guy, obviously a psycho living off the loosh of normies, is acting like a schizo and is pushing other people to become schizos and become socially isolated when that's not something that he's doing. He's actually got 50,000 subscribers. They don't have a chance becoming a schizo and getting 50,000 subscribers. So it's all bullshit. So I'm calling cap on this entire video. You're no schizo, man. You're selling people a fucking raw egg.
Yeah, it's like hey there, fellow normie. Hey there, fellow schizo.
I
You
know
like
exactly right.
conspiracy theories and whatnot? I mean, come on, bro.
Come on, goy. Like,
woo, 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 woo. Actually, I got a funny video about that too. Let me play this other one and let's just compare and contrast. I'm just gonna let it play for like a couple of minutes and then I'll pause it. If you need to pause it, just yell out. I'll be across the room, but I'm just gonna listen from across the room. Wait, did I add it? Wait, let's see. Oh, wait, let me remove, add. Okay. I'm just going to play this for a minute. I'll be right back.
People in every civilization, those who enforce reality, those who exploit reality, and those who can see through it. History is not shaped by nations, elections, or ideologies. It is shaped by the hidden war between three classes: the normies,
there's a Republic
the
of Plato.
schizos, and the psychopaths. This war is not fought with weapons. It is fought with narratives, shame, incentives, and perception itself. These are not clinical diagnoses. They are archetypes, reoccurring roles that emerge in families, workplaces, media, and our decaying civilization. Some view them as Gnostic castes, the Hylics, psychics, and pneumatics. or Jungian complexes, the persona or normie, the self before individuation is the schizo, and the unintegrated shadow is the psychopath. These maps are imperfect, but the pattern is unmistakable. You may identify most strongly with one class. I identify with the schizo, but everyone contains
He's using the same
traits
exact
from all
image.
three. The question is not what you are, it's which role is driving you under pressure. Welcome to Hidden America, where magic meets cybernetics and the code behind reality reveals itself. Before we go any further, I want to acknowledge at
Oh, okay.
Hyperborean Knowledge, whose breakdown of these dynamics inspired this video. Their channel.
So these two groups are clearly connected. I was absolutely right. I just like I've not. Yeah, so I did not see this video, but yeah, I called that out. You know, I was extremely like, yeah, I hit that on the money there. So yeah, that was pretty sharp right there because I was like, whoa, he's using the same image, and now yeah, so yeah, definitely. So what connection does he have to this? And the reason why the Hyperborean knowledge is significant here is because he's talking about the different classes of the caste system, right? With the Chandalas being on the bottom, right? Because the Hyperborean wisdom, the book, right, that our friend gave us, right, that deals with this issue, it talks about the caste system in Hinduism and how people are reincarnated into these different castes. So I'm understanding where this is coming from now, right? This is actually an attempt to spin, Plato's Republic and the caste system into social profiling, right? So yeah.
Well, and so they're blending it with Hyperborean esoteric Hitlerism.
Right. Because the middle class is the warriors, right? The top class is the Brahmins, the middle class is the warriors, and then the bottom is the untouchables and the working class.
So they're recruiting us into a cyber pseudo caliphate.
Cyber caste system.
Pseudo
Yeah.
caliphate.
Cyber caste system. Yeah.
Yeah.
Browns boy, your voice thing is echoing there. Just let you know.
Yeah, but I think you can go to his audio and click over it.
Your voice
and
thing is
maybe hit echo cancellation.
Yeah, but I think you can go to his audio and click over it and maybe hit echo cancellation.
He's muted now, so it's not him. Wait. That's weird.
Yeah, Browns boy, unmute your thing or just double check because or we'll see. If it comes back, we'll figure it because I know I have the problem too. That's why I keep muting. But yeah, so I was gonna say it's like they're recruiting us into some sort of cyber warfare or something and trying to hype us up or something, and I don't know, something like that. Something like that. But I was gonna say, do you know what these guys and Jack Talcott probably have in common, Browns boy? Well, there's gonna be like a knock joke, but so here's my Schizo Maxer joke of the day. Jack Talcott and these guys have in common that they're probably big fans of Elaine Pagels.
Oh man. Well, you know what he said? He said that all of the three groups are three Gnostic sects. So isn't that weird? Because I've had 2 or 3 or more people who believe in the demiurge arguing about what the demiurge means on my panel last time. Remember that?
Yeah, that's what's funny about it. That's why I'm saying it's kind of weird how like this is like the total intersectionality that we found.
Right.
It is very weird. Like that's why I was like I couldn't tell exactly what this is. But yeah, it's weird. It's like, okay, let's mix in the caste systems. It's like, I don't know. But I think the Elaine Pagels thing is interesting. I mean, I think only you're gonna see what I mean by that, but yeah, I don't know. Like there's definitely some sort of externalization over here or something. I don't know. Not exactly. I'm honestly like not sure what I'm talking about, but I think I'm onto something. I'm gonna let's see. I think you just cracked the code though, with what you said.
Yeah, it's fascinating. Like,
Channel does excellent work. Go subscribe. This video would not exist without
look at
that
this.
spark. The first time I encountered this idea in its rawest form was in a 4chan post, a meme really, that described a silent war between psychopaths and schizophrenics. The claim was simple. Modern systems disproportionately reward psychopathic traits, which is why psychopaths are overrepresented in executive and political power, and they disproportionately punish unintegrated pattern recognition, which is why many schizos, and if you don't like that term, replace it with mystic, synchronist, or autist, end up isolated, medicated, or discarded. The same perception that makes a schizo dangerous to false systems makes them unfit for systems that demand compliance. Normies, meanwhile, are largely unable to distinguish between the two, which allows psychopaths to dominate and schizos to be targeted by both normies and
Yeah,
psychopaths,
we've seen
whether
that
consciously or
Machiavellianism thing
not.
before.
The tragedy isn't that psychopaths rise or that schizos fall. The tragedy is that system is structured so they never recognize each other except as enemies. Whether or not you accept that framing literally, the dynamic itself is real and historically consistent. This video is not about glorifying any group. It's about understanding the structure of the conflict. The goal of this video is simple: to break down the dynamics of the hidden war between these three forces and show how they operate in history, media, families, workplaces, and civilizations in decay. The war is ongoing. It is invisible by design. And now, more than ever, it matters that you can see it. Part 1, the map of the hidden war. This diagram started as a meme, but like most durable memes, it survived because it pointed at something real, the true caste system of civilization. What you're looking at is not a moral hierarchy, it's a sorting mechanism. First, you notice the vertical axis. At the bottom, you have the Hyla class, the pure normies
Dark
or
Triad from
NPCs.
Duganism.
These are background characters. They take no
Or the dark triadics or formulations, the dark logos. Right, from Duganism.
Right. I
And
can't
then
remember all
this-
the details on that, but it definitely sounds
Yeah.
like it.
Yeah, and then schizoanalysis from from Deleuze and Guattari, right, which is being used by Nick Land. So there's a lot of like accelerationist ideas here.
I have a third video because I listened to the whole presentation like I think yesterday or was it Tuesday or Wednesday, and about the demiurges. I do have a 7-minute video that if you guys want to watch in the future or whatever, we don't have to do it now.
We'll put
But
in the back.
I don't think
Let's just-
Hyperborean agrees with it. But
We'll put in the
I just
back
wanted
right
to say
now.
that.
Let me share it now. because I'll forget. Let's just do it now while we have it. Because it might be very related to what we're talking about. So.
All right. Okay. All right. I'll be back in a few minutes. I got to go find it.
All good. Just send it over if you find it.
Interest in evaluating reality at all. They live inside the script. They don't analyze cause. They don't track systems. They live almost entirely inside habit and routine. This is baseline normie state. Above them, the population splits into two psychological orientations. On the left, the something is happening class. On the right, the nothing ever happens class. Both exist inside the system. Both believe they understand reality. Neither actually controls it. And this is crucial. This is where most people get confused. The blue side of the diagram, the happening class, feels pressure, experiences instability, knows something is wrong, suffers consequences directly. The red side of the diagram, the nothing ever happens class, knows causes abstractly, is insulated from effects, experiences apathy, confuses detachment with intelligence. These two groups hate each other, but neither is running the show. They are reacting, not directing. The real war isn't happening in the middle, it's happening above them. At the top of the diagram are two rare groups, the psychopath class and the schizo class. This is the part most people miss. The diagram explicitly says they are at war with each other, and the fallout affects those below. And this is the key insight. The diagram implies three uncomfortable truths. Psychopaths rise upward. Modern systems reward manipulation, optics, and emotional detachment. Psychopaths are overrepresented in executive, political, and institutional power. Schizos fall outward. Pattern recognition without permission destabilizes systems. Schizos are disproportionately isolated, medicated, or discarded. Normies absorb the shock. They enforce stability. They police deviation. They keep the system coherent even when it's false. This is not because anyone is evil or stupid. It's because
And another thing
systems
that this
sort of
implies
function, not
is actually
truth.
really bad. It's implying that if you are in power or seek power, that you're inherently evil. Right? So it's saying that the people on the top have to be psychos. Right? So that seems like a huge cope.
Well, it's basically saying, I agree, and this is one of my big problems with most of, quote unquote right wing commentary, is that it basically tells you like, well, you're a good person, don't even try. The psychopaths are always going to go to the top. You can't do anything about it.
Seems like leftism.
Exactly. Well, and I think that's kind of where the whole idea of like Gramsci and Trotsky also come into play, because it's basically like, well, the most noble place for you to be is like on the ground as a foot soldier and all this. But then it's like, well, isn't all this run by Jews? And it's like, well, let's not talk about that. So even among, this is one of the reasons I like the TikTok stuff, because all the Goiper adjacent accounts, not all, but a lot, they're basically telling people like, you can't do anything, give up, only look for a traditional trad wife who's white and a virgin and under 25 years old. I mean, it's basically like let's add more and more pressure on you to make you like totally give up on life, essentially. And don't ever try to like challenge power because it's too bad, because Zog controls everything and you can't do anything about it. It's all done already, and it's like, but then on the same token, they'll tell you like you're bad if you don't. It's hard to explain until you see it, but yeah, this is a very strange. What do you mean by cope? Because that word's interesting. What do you mean by it's a cope though?
Like the video, like the two videos that we watched are literally telling you, like, in order to be true to yourself and to actually know what's going on and to challenge what's going on in society and to be in a war against the powers that be, you have to be socially isolated, and also you won't be in power.
Seems legit. I mean, come on. That's exactly what you want to tell the smartest, brightest people that can see what's happening.
I don't know. I think you kind of want to tell them to like that they shouldn't be socially isolated, that that actually they're the people in power are just normies. They're not that powerful. They're not, that their time is up someday. There's no 3-tier system that's going to last forever.
Well, it's kind of like simultaneously saying caste systems are bad, but we're going to put you in a caste system, so keep your mouth shut or something like that. And look, he even adds in the fourth, which is the NPC. So okay, now he's entering a fourth like subhuman NPC.
Yeah, I just,
And I also think it's weird. It's like the schizos are always like frog people or like super depressed people. Or it's like, okay, what's the deal with the whole frog thing?
well, they're groypers. They're using the groyper meme for it.
Well,
So it's pretty weird.
It's a Keck thing where Keck is like a
yeah, but
it's
they
like,
showed Normie maxing twice now, and it was always they conflated it with support for Israel. Like right now, the NPC guy's got Hebrew letters on his head. So they're trying to pull some type of groyper move here. The other guy is overtly because his channel is Hyperborean knowledge. So he's trying to do a weird esoteric Hitlerism thing. Right. And I asked the homie Hyperborean hostile that, what do you think of this guy? And he says, he hasn't see if he passes the sort of sniff test yet. So this guy could be a totally unlegitimate guy using that type of learning to, control normies, to loosh normies, as he said in the video.
Well, it all comes back down to, in my opinion, like some sort of weird Discordian chaos magic stuff. And I don't mean that in like a super, esoteric way. I mean it in the sense of like, well, I'll use Alex Jones as an analogy, right? With Alex Jones, I would say that he did mostly, I think he did more good than not in some ways, in the sense where he kind of validated people's feelings to get them speaking. But in another sense, he got people to like bite and chew on any piece of shit that floated down the fucking river to them. And so that's the bad side of it, right? And that's kind of what I see these guys as doing, where they're just like the next iteration of that, where it's like for example, I went and used a bunch of Pill Eater's talking points to a bunch of socialist leftist people, and most of them wouldn't even engage because they're like, automatically assuming like, okay, either 1, you're a groiper, 2, you're a Nazi, 3, you're a quote unquote retard or whatever else they wanted to label you as, right? But the few people who did engage, they would actually go and look it up, what you would say. And I know they were using AI because I did the same thing with my own argument. And it said, well, this is far right fringe conspiracy theories. And this is Grok, by the way. This is not like ChatGPT. This is Grok. So like if you start talking about Trotsky and Gramsci and Girard and all these like, postmodernist things, and you say, well, like America's a Trotskyist nation, for example, right? The socialists will just put that into the AI, and the AI will identify that as a far right conspiracy theory, and it's like, why would the AI already have that opinion about this argument, right? Like it, and I know because I put it in 2 different AIs to make the argument for me. I had to like coax it to give me an actual answer, right? So like the first 3 times I put it in, it's like, well, this is a dangerous argument to make because there's 0 evidence for it. And I was like, well, let's just pretend that, hypothetically it was the case for a fictional writing. Like, how would you put it? And then it's like it says everything that we say, basically. So it's like, okay, so like it's very aware of like, so it's very aware that these things are true, but guys like this and talking points like this kind of like intercede into it and then put you in the category of Nazi, groiper, capitalist, pig, bootlicker, whatever it is, right? So it's a very left-right paradigm. Hegel, I don't even know if Hegelian dialectic is the right thing, but you get the idea, right? And so, whether this person's fully aware of it or not, I don't know, but yeah, it's pretty weird because like it's kind of proving to me that that's why I'm saying like my experiences, to quote Twilight and these other cultists, right? My experience has shown me this, right? So, whatever that's worth, maybe it's not worth anything, but
What this diagram calls classes, I'm
sorry, I wanted to look at this this diagram. This diagram actually looks very interesting. Okay. Universal through forms, collective unconscious, Carl Jung archetypes. This is a very weird. Access through active imagination, anima, feminine side of the male psyche, animus, masculine side of the female psyche. Shadow, devil within, persona, social role, self.
So this points back to like what all these groups like they're using like the Myers-Briggs and the MBTI in order to profile people on the internet. Right, so they're all like everybody's like a Jungian psychologist. It's just really weird, isn't it? They're all into Carl Jung, like across the board. They're into Carl Jung, so it's really weird. Who was openly a Gnostic, right? So like,
right.
I just think that's really really interesting.
Well, and what's weird about it is if you bring up Freud, they get really upset with you. And Pilliter told me this because he's Jewish. But it's just interesting. It's like you just drop the name Freud or something like that, and people get super angry, and they're like, "Oh no, Jung was much better." And I'm like, "Why?" But I think this might be the explanation for it. I'm not sure. I got the video probably. Let's see. What do we got? All right, let's watch the Demiurge thing. It might be relevant to this. Oh, cool. It's a Santa. Okay. All right, let's watch it.
The knowledge that was lost is the knowledge of the 12ness of energy. And this was carried through the zodiac astrological teaching. Every ecliptic, every wave, whether it's a thought wave, emotion wave, water wave, sound wave, light wave, it all begins and has an end and then repeats. It's cyclical. And it's represented as a frequency, okay? So where it starts is always in the center, And then what happens is at the same time as it goes up and then back to the center and then down again, the opposite is happening. But we depict it as a sine wave. We go up to the Tropic of Cancer, down back to the equator, down to the Tropic of Capricorn, down the bottom, and back to the middle. The secret is in knowing about the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn down the bottom. The sun shows you this every year, like the Scarabus, which is another way of saying scarab. The Scarabus, it climbs all the way up to the Tropic of Cancer, then is depicted as a scarab, crab. The sun will then begin to wane. The summer will come, and you see Virgo is the harvest season. And then Libra is where the grapes that grew under Leo and harvested in Virgo are pressed on the wine press of the scales of Libra. And then you see Jesus with his 12 disciples on the table, and he's spreading out bread and wine, because Virgo gives the bread and Libra brings the wine. So there's Jesus in the middle of the ecliptic, the sine wave. He's got 6 disciples on his right: Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Virgo, Leo, Virgo. And there he is, Virgo's right next to him, that virgin. That's why Cancer's pointing to Virgo's throat. He's saying, no Adam's apple, Jesus. This is a virgin to your right. And then you see to his left, you see Leonardo da Vinci paints a green disciple with his arms outstretched, just like the scales of Libra, green, Venus. That's the equinox, Judgment Day, Rosh Hashanah, Festival of Tabernacles, of Tents, Libra, Tishri. Those scales represented the justice and the judgment of the sign of Libra on the 23rd of September. Because there the sun is judged at the equinox, standing between 12 hours of day, 12 hours of night. And it's in the middle of the ecliptic at 180 degrees. That's its position. And you weigh the truth in the scales. Also in the Egyptian motif, where the dead go into a mentet, the underworld, and you see the scales, and your heart is weighed against a feather, which are the same word, anagrams of each other, heart, feather. And so if your heart is heavier than the feather, well, there's only one saviour that can help you from hell. That's the Son of God, Horus, the son of Osiris, or Jesus, another word. Remember, Jesus is always the Son, Christ is the Father. Those scales of justice, they are there as the 7th sign of the zodiac, because it's the middle of every sine wave, signaling that position of Libra, the judgment of God, Judgment Day, and then the fall. The sun falls all the way down to Christmas, where it's crucified at Christmas. So when you study the ecliptic and you see all of these festivities on the ecliptic, and you see how the sun goes up to summer and down to winter, Cancer, Capricorn, and you see this, you begin to understand, well, energy might not just be 2 things, positive, negative. Yes, you could be simplistic, and we could say that all energy is a vibration, and it is, duality, the devil. Everyone's afraid of duality. It's so scary. In fact, Pythagoras spat on the ground at the number 2 when his disciples mentioned 2. Pah! The duality god, the demiurge, was seen as an abortion, as a blasphemy, this physical creation of redshift, blue shift. It was the pits of hell, because in higher realms it is more bliss. In the physical realm, there is only suffering, because it's duality. So this two-ness is how God, the one, the monad being an anagram for Adam, and atom, the unit, becomes the dyad God, the God of creation, redshift, blue shift. And this is the creator. What this world produces can only be seen from that perspective, with the physical eyes. That's why we have 2 eyes. So where are people going? They're waking up, and they're going to learn how nature works as a 12-ness, not a 2-ness. That's why the 2-ness was spat at by Pythagoras, not because it was evil, but because people are stuck there. There are 12 frequencies along that ecliptic, and the 12 signs teach you the 12 frequencies of every wave. And in church, they tell you that it's the devil. What happens is you have 12, and that's obvious. There are 12 musical notes. There are 12 full spectrum colors along the electromagnetic. The rainbow has 7 in them, but if you put the spectrum and spread it out more, there are 12. And 12 is in everything. The dodecahedron, which is the ether polyhedra. And so dodeca means 12. Carbon. The universe is made of carbon. Well, it's not just carbon, it's carbon 12. It's the isotope of carbon. It's 12. And it's 99.99999% of everything that is solid is carbon 12. And carbon 12 is able to construct with its properties the physical material world through the dodecahedron, which is the polyhedra of the ether. Hence we get words like Ethernet. Yeah, that's the same ether that Einstein said doesn't exist. That's fairy talk. You know? Whereas Tesla only acknowledged the ether.
Yeah.
Marconi, Luigi Gina, they all work with the ether, all the real geniuses, the ones who invented stuff. Einstein didn't invent anything.
Yeah.
So like two things stuck out to me there. One is this idea of 12ness.
Right.
And the other is that duality. Oh shit, I lost it. It was like, okay, because I feel like Hyperborean was saying he is a dualist,
Oh yeah.
and this kind of shows that
But Plato was too, right? And Plato knew about those solids and all that stuff, right? Like that's why they're called
Yeah.
platonic solids, right? So he affirmed like that the ether and all that stuff exists. So even if you're a dualist, you could still believe in the platonic solids and all that stuff.
Right, but there was something in there where it said, oh geez, I don't know, I felt like there was a contradiction in Hyperborean's position due to dualism, but I can't remember exactly what it was in there. I'll have to watch it
well,
again.
that's the whole thing that that's the whole thing that Avian seemed to be challenging him on, right? Because Avian has taken the position of that there's a non-dual awareness, just like Parmenides is describing, right? So he's saying if you really believe in Parmenides, you can't be a dualist, right?
Yeah, I just wish I could remember the exact specific thing in there in the video, but I'll bring it up later at another point. But so I don't know exactly how to describe what I watched there, other than, I mean, there was a little bit of more information in there that I thought was in there, but
Well,
the
what is he saying the
demiurge?
who is he saying the demiurge is? Who does he say that is? Is he saying it's Jesus?
I think I could be wrong, but I thought I heard him saying, fuck, I don't know, man. I'd have to honestly watch it probably like.
Well, Twilight seemed to
again.
be saying that. Twilight seemed to be saying the demiurge might be Sophia. I know he might not be saying that, but it almost seemed like, well, we live on the earth, we live inside, her dream or something. So like that's what I was trying to figure out. That's why I was like so pissed off. I was like really trying to understand like what exactly are you trying to get at?
Actually, you know what?
What is
The demiurge is a bad guy, Neuro. So I don't think he thinks that because Sophia is the one that Sophia. Yeah.
Well, no, but he was saying that the demiurge wasn't necessarily bad. See, he was kind of taking a dualist position too. Like maybe the demiurge is kind of like a prime
Well, that's
mover
what
on something, right? So
yeah, that's what Dom says too. He says the demiurge is not really that bad, but then Hyperborean, yeah, he thinks the demiurge is bad, right? So yeah,
yeah,
so
well,
see Plato, right? Plato himself, he came up with the concept of the demiurge, and for Plato, it was a good guy. You have to remember that, right?
right.
But the
And
Gnostics
that,
are yeah.
yeah, and I mean, again, like I'm not like a Platonist, but like if I were to have to choose something, I think Plato's general, like I mean, personally, like I take the ether at face value. Like I think that like
Okay,
that's
so
better than what most people
so
accept. I think the
it
ether
looks
explains a
like
lot more than other shit.
it sounds like the demiurge creates or is a part of these forms, and these are constrictions, but there's a 12ness. I don't know. I really don't know. I have I have to like watch it like a few more times. Like I'm just slow, but
Well,
No,
you're
I didn't.
saying the video that you presented.
yeah,
So you're saying the video you presented mentions the demiurge as well?
that's what it was attempting to explain. Apparently,
Oh, that's interesting. So hold on, let me click on this video because you put this in the private here. Let's see what it is. The
that's the
demiurge,
same
right?
one.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
demiurge, right? So it's talking about the 12 and the 12 disciples, and so I think it's talking about
and
like
how
time and
it would include time. Yeah, he
you
didn't
know,
talk about that, but the time included would be in the the because that wave that's like that happens every single like that sun pattern literally happens every single year. So yeah, it has to do with time. Yeah, I don't know, man. There's something else in there though that I really thought went against what Hyperborean was saying. Plus, I kind of
Well,
mentioned something about.
well, I'm pretty sure like Santos thinks nature is good, right?
Oh yeah,
Yeah, nature's on the good side. So yeah, so he's gonna be sort of on the other side anyways. He's closer to what Twilight and Dom are saying for sure. That the demiurge is sort of like more good than evil for sure. So yeah, you know,
well, I mean, I kind of like I definitely understand what he's saying about like Jesus is the Son, Christ is God. You know, what did he say about like comparing Egyptian mythology and all that? Like nobody ever told me that as a kid, but when I studied, I studied a lot of Egyptian stuff really young. I was really into it, and very early on, I noticed I was like, okay, they the numerology in the Bible seems to have a purpose other than just mentioning 12 disciples and 12 this and that. So again, I'm not sure if it's like one's copying the other, like like did Plato copy the stuff from the Septuagint or whatever came before him, or what, or the Hebrew stuff, or did it come from Iran, or why do we have 12 months and 12 12 zodiacs and this and that and the other, and so I don't know what that is. I mean, I'm pretty sure that the Chinese have like 12 zodiacs too, so like it seems to be something bigger than a Greek thing or something, right? So like I don't know exactly what it is, but they do it by year though. So like theirs is by year and the moon, and then ours is like by the sun and whatever the fuck else, I don't know, but the precession of the equinox or whatever. So I don't know. I mean, it's just kind of interesting that there seems to be a lot of somewhat overlap between all of it. Like, I'm not a syncretist per se, but like I
well,
definitely
the
think
stars
that
are.
there's similarities for sure. Yeah.
I mean, you would just have to look at astrology, right? And I mean, I haven't really looked at it all that much, but like, I'm pretty sure that you can count on it You know, and I think people were very serious about this in the past. You know, we have evidence of that, like you just said. You know, like there's different
Well, even
systems of that.
even the story of the three
It is.
even the story of the three wise men in the Bible is like within the theology of Christianity. We say that that's like
Yep.
talking about basically the Magi or some shit like that, and they're like their following of the stars led them to Christianity. So therefore, it kind of proves that Christianity is kind of like a culmination of all these other religions as well. So, I mean, I think they say like one was representing like Iran or like what do you call them, like the Zoroastrians or whatever, and then there's like one coming from Egypt and one coming from Babylon or something. I don't know, but something like that. I can't remember the details right now. But so even within Christianity,
I heard
as something like that. So
I heard this one interpretation where the three wise men brought frankincense, gold, and the last one showed up late, and he smelled like a skunk, and they were like, "What'd you bring?" He's like, "Marijuana."
well, you know what those things are
silent.
for though. Like frankincense, like one's for like life, one's for death, and one's for like something else. I don't remember. You know what I mean? Like it's like I think like myrrh.
So
like one's used for funerals, one's used for births, one's used for deaths, or I don't know, some shit like that. I can't remember off the top of my head. Oh, there's something about that. Let me look it up. Go ahead.
like you know, the sun is deaf. I don't know. Yeah, I don't, because when I watched that video for the first time, I was thinking like, I don't listen, like I'm not really getting a good idea. I don't think, you know, I don't think I'm like, I don't know. I felt like maybe the video wasn't that good. I was like, yeah, maybe it wasn't like, because I've seen a bunch of his videos that he will go into insane detail sometimes, and like that's not one I felt that he did, and I don't know how to explain it.
Well, I just didn't hear it. The audio wasn't
but
clear for me.
other than he's trying to relate, I think he's trying to relate like how matter is impressed upon by this 12ness, because like that's what he started off with saying, that like forgotten or whatever is this 12ness of this one wave. But this is how like all waves behave, basically, or something like that. So I don't know exactly, but yeah. Thanks for playing it.
Well, there's Christians who talk about this too. Like this, like the Mike Heiser guy talks about, who's dead now, unfortunately, but
British
he talks about like how the 12 represents
British
something.
Israelism?
The 72 represents something, like all of it. And like I'm not saying to like take it fully all the way there, but there is something pretty weird going on for sure. And with the duality thing, like
he's saying literally science. He's saying, oh, sorry. He's saying though, like literally scientifically, this is how waves work in everyday real life. But it has an effect on matter. That's really what I'm getting from this. But he's not saying the sun is the demiurge. So I'm not sure. Like I get lost. Maybe, I don't know. Yeah, this is where.
So I'll read this too. So just because Zephyr's trying to help me down there, but I'll read this. So gold symbolizes his kingship as the King of Kings. Frankincense represents his divinity and priesthood as God, and myrrh signifies his humanity and his future suffering and death. So these kind of like are foreshadowing the Holy Trinity as well. So, yeah. So, and so, Machine, can you help me understand exactly what you mean by duality? I know that I've done this many times, but the duality question, like what's up with that again? Because like you believe in like a oneness. Duality is like you kind of need both light and dark.
Can I say something? Sorry, go ahead, man. I have something on this for sure.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
Duality and oneness. It's the way, I don't know, man, the way it looks to me is like Uh, it's like the center of a magnet basically is the ground. This is just like a crude example, right? But and it creates a polarity, a dualness the center point, which would be 0 point, or would be I don't know, maybe you could say origin. The origin of this duality would come from this grounded center, and this is where they also get like and so like the poles of this magnet created duality. You could say this is good, you could say this is bad, hot, cold, and then like observable phenomenon. I don't so then like no observe, and then like, but this also creates a field. This isn't just like a magnet with a north and a south. This center point actually creates a field, and this field is observable. I can like show you a video where you can actually see the fields that these magnets create. And in the center is black, and it's the center point, neutral. And then so now this creates a field, and the field is circular. So it's one field. So we went from like 0 to 2 to 1 now, but you're looking at one field, right? And this is equatable to the term of the like the atom. This is how an atom also works, and that's just one example. That's kind of what I'm thinking. When you're seeing duality, you're seeing what's what is in what's what information, like you're seeing material things that are not the source, that are created by a polarity, and you're going like, oh, that's a car, but like really it's like whatever, like thousands of trillions of different atoms and shit. And so this is, I think, part of the basis part of the basis of reality. But apparently it also has this 12ness, which would probably be like, because like it's also, I think it also like acts as a vortex. Like it's a it's not like, yeah, it's like it's all, that's how they say it's always constantly moving. So it's not, these objects aren't actually still. That's what I think when I'm talking about like maybe like saying, giving an example of this this center ground from which duality is created from that, or it's part of it. I'm not sure. It's probably like, I don't know.
Machine, what's your take on duality? Would you agree or?
Well, yeah. I mean, that's an interesting explanation. I think, in terms of physical, like matter, right? But in terms of classical philosophy, right, the whole dualism thing is about mind and body, right? So like, which one is, so like, are mind and body separate, right? That's mostly what it would come to. You know what I'm saying, right? So when somebody says you're a dualist in philosophy, it means like, you think mind and body are two separate substances, right? Which means like you think there's, immaterial, quote unquote, stuff and material stuff.
Right. So what is it? Islam says there's no separation, right?
Well, within Islam or Christianity, you could argue both ways
Yeah. I would definitely agree with both Christianity.
because it's not a philosophy, right? So there are dualist philosophers who are both Christian and Muslim. There's non-dualist philosophers that are Christian and Muslim, right? They'll say, no, obviously, like, like there's not too much other stuff going on in reality other than God, right? So they'll say, like, there's not too much possibility of dualism, right? So in terms of, or they'll say, well, spirit and flesh are two different things, right? So you have to say, well,
Right.
they're totally different, right? There's no way in which you can, say, well, there's only spirit.
Well, that seems to be what Hyperborean's kind of trying to get at, or something like that. Like, there's a spirit that's just totally separate from anything tied to here.
Right. Exactly. Right.
Yeah.
Right. So,
and I guess like my understanding of the Trinity, and again, like, I could be totally off, but like my uninitiated, let's say, view of it is something like, it's basically saying, like, okay, you have like mind, you have body, like you have soul and spirit, you have like, you have like the material and the spirit or something. But then, like, the Trinity is basically saying, well, there's also like a connection to God, which is like kind of the end all be all, right? So, it kind of was like the thing that binds everything together. So I put it like this: like, when you're here, you're forming like a personality, and I think Egyptian talks about, and allegedly the Egyptian religion talks about this too, where it's like you have like a ka, whatever or whatever, right? So like you have like a spirit, then you have like, that's kind of like without personality. Then you have like a soul, which is like your personality. Then you have like your body, right? So like I think there's like a connection between all these different things of like, divinity connected to everything, right? So it doesn't mean that you don't have, and I think that's what most people mean by free will, is like you have like your expression of yourself while you're alive, right? But then, obviously it implies that you're kind of like a little god or something like that. And I disagree with that. I mean, we're made in the image of God. Doesn't mean that, like, we have like pure will within us or something like that. So yeah, I don't know. So I'm not sure exactly if I'm doing it justice, but that's kind of my comprehension of it, I guess.
So, like, I think Hyperborean's position, being wanting to be so far unconnected from material, just in general, I think that position highly supports accelerationism.
Well, you could argue you could argue that it definitely lays a moral structure to where there wouldn't be any problem with it. I'll put it that way, for sure. Yeah. I don't know if that makes sense, but hopefully that makes some sense. I think it's basically like,
it's like a water slide or something. Like,
yeah, grease the skids, as Uncle Alex Jones used to say. They're greasing the skids. So let me see if I can find this thing. Hold on. I'm gonna write a reply to this article, but I feel like kind of nervous too. Let me read you guys some of this article, and then we'll go back to this. I just want to get to it before I forget, because Machine might find this very interesting, I think. Okay, can you guys see this on the screen here?
yeah.
Can I ask one quick question?
What's up?
Oh, just it's I'm such a layman, but the way I described the idea of the magnet, and how, like, just the concept of how that works, and how it seems like it's very related to everything in the world, especially dualistically for its expression, more so than it's the understanding of its, I don't know, the understanding of it fully. We're just getting, the fruits of it. I was wondering if I don't know, have you ever heard anything, Machine, about that idea with panpsychism or any sort of thing like that?
Oh, which idea?
Just about like the concept of reality being linked to these poles, and this, like the way a magnet works with, like how matter.
Yeah, that's
I don't
exactly
know,
what Scribina says. Yeah, that's exactly what Scribina says. He believes in the ether. He believes all that shit. So he believes exactly the same thing, right? So he thinks nature is panpsychic, right? So he believes like panpsychism is just nature. Like he thinks nature is mind is God, right? So he thinks all three of those things are the same thing, right? So it's interesting, right?
I see.
Yeah. So in his model of panpsychism, it's just nature that's a bunch of minds, right? So yeah.
You use them as expressions,
Yeah.
maybe, or expressions of, okay.
Yeah, like basically like atoms are conscious for Dr. Scribina.
Okay, that's kind of okay.
Yeah, they're electric,
See, I
and they're
haven't,
conscious, and they're made of like living things.
Yeah, I don't really have a problem with that either, honestly. Like, I mean, I think there's an argument that light itself could be conscious as well, personally, but
Yeah, because if you think about it, like how would like if there is a God, like you really think he just make like dead stuff that just like pops in and out of existence and it's just like fluid? Like no, like God would make like actual living things that like have their own spirit.
right. Like even if space is as they describe it, like they have to include dark matter and dark energy because literally nothing can. There is no such thing as nothing. Nothing cannot exist, right? So like they're trying to say, well, it's just a bunch of empty space, or it's like that actually doesn't really make any sense. I mean, it's they have to keep accounting
energy,
for
I think, the dark energy is, I think, a replacement theory for ether.
I 100%. I 100%
absolutely
agree. Yep, I agree 100%. That's why I said, like, I think Plato's thing about ether makes way more sense than like all this like weird like ethereal, nothingness and Big Bang and whatever. I mean, it's like they're literally just doing backflips to like go back and say, well, actually, Plato was right about this, and everything we've done is based on Plato, but let's just avoid that and like jujitsu it up so we don't have to like admit it or something. It's like I just don't. I mean, I think I know why they're doing that. It's so normal people don't figure out what's going on, but I don't think it's genuine. Like, I don't think a lot of the astrophysics stuff is like genuine at all. I think it's just basically like a psyop. And like, again, this is why I think like the most interesting part of the Epstein thing is that he was probably like a psyop agent for science or something like that, right? But they're trying to make it like, oh, it was this or it was that or it was this or that. It's like the fact that they were hanging out with all these like astrophysicists and stuff like that, like Neil the grass-fed bison or whatever, as Matt from Quantum Conscious calls them. Like, I think that's the bigger story personally. So that's just my opinion, but a psyop, exactly. So I know we're switching gears really fast, but like I think this is very interesting. So she describes herself as an eco-feminist writer and activist.
Don't tell me this is the girl you told to come on the Machine Lies.
No, but I would. I should, honestly. But if I write this article, she definitely won't come on anything. But But I thought I'd show this before I write my what do you call it? My rebuttal, I guess. So look at this picture. You have JD Vance and Usha. Help! I married a white supremacist. I like how she like made everything lowercase except for white, so it's kind of weird, you know. It's a very unique way to put it. Unpacking.
Are you
Maga's-
saying she wrote an article that titled? Okay, she actually wrote an article titled this, or was it someone?
Yes.
Or was it?
Yes.
Wait, not the vice president's wife wrote this.
No. This is somebody writing it about.
Oh, okay.
the vice-
All right, I'm
So there you go. So unpacking MAGA's Asian fetish. In 2018, the New York Times writer Audrey Lin wrote about the alt-right's Asian fetish, and I need to read that one too, by the way, but which blew the conversation open on alt-right men's fetishization of Asian women. Which, by the way, I'd never heard of this before, like a couple months ago. I mean, I think I might have like assumed it was talked about, but I don't think I ever saw anything about it. But the topic resurfacing again today after the news that this ICE agent, the white supremacist ICE agent who murdered Renee Good, is married to a Filipina immigrant. So, okay, so white supremacists can have Filipino wives now. So I just want to stop there. Like, is that possible that you could be a white supremacist and married to somebody who's non-white, I guess? Maybe I need to look up the definition of it. Like, what's the official Urban Dictionary definition of white supremacy?
I mean, they're calling this dude a white supremacist because he shot a lady. Wasn't the lady white too?
Yes.
So I don't know. I think they're just calling him a white supremacist because he's an ICE agent when there's obviously Hispanic people who work for ICE. So I don't understand. Right. So it doesn't make sense.
So here's the official definition according to our God, which is Google. It says a white supremacist is someone who believes white people are inherently superior to other races. Okay, so you have to accept that one, there is such thing as races, and two, that whatever the race of white is inherently superior. See, I mean, here's one of the things: like I get called a racist. Like I don't even accept that race is an actual thing, but I just think it's kind of funny, right? But advocating for white power and privilege, often through ideologies like white nationalism, segregation, and anti-immigrant views. This is such a loaded comment. Historically linked to groups like the KKK and neo-Nazi movements that use racism, anti-Semitism, and anti-minority hate to promote white dominance and sometimes violence. It's like, okay, like it's like an extremely loaded thing. But so anyway, so it's just interesting. Like everybody's throwing this term white supremacist around. Like it's like there's like a white supremacist behind every bush in America. Apparently, it's like I've just never heard people talk like this in my entire life. Jonathan Ross and his wife Patricia Ross are one of several marriages between white supremacists and Asian women. Other famous white supremacists who have a history of dating and marrying Asian women include Trump's right-hand man, JD Vance, George Floyd's murderer, Derek Chauvin, white nationalist Richard Spencer, and neo-Nazi Andrew England. It's just very interesting to me. It's like they're extreme. They're such extremists that they're breaking their own beliefs by marrying somebody who's non-white. It's like I'm trying to understand the logic here. At the same time, Asian people are being detained, deported, and killed by ICE. In 2025, 5 Asian nationals, and I'm not going to try to read those names, by the way, died while in ICE detention. It's perplexing to wrap one's head around why a capital white supremacist would want to date and marry a woman of color with a U. The very type of person he seeks to oppress. And then it has a picture of them. So this is the face of the white supremacy, guys. I don't know if you knew this or not. And and you guys please interject if you have any comments, because like I'm not trying to like filibuster them. Like I'm genuinely looking for like feedback on this. I'm just gonna play a little bit of this. Oh hell no. Oh, they took down this link. So they took down this video. Interesting. Oh, okay, I gotta zoom back in now. Let's see. All right, so these women are separate people from their husbands and are not responsible for their husband's actions. Okay, so like, however, the prevalence of these relationships still raises the question of Asian women's role in white supremacy. Who do these relationships truly benefit, and what structures of oppression do they uphold? So this is very interesting. It says it's like we absolve them of responsibility because they're women, but what is the role of women in white supremacy? Okay. Like I'm just trying to break down the logic of this without judging it. Machine, do you have any comments yet? Because I think it's going to get worse from here, but I'm genuinely trying to understand like what exactly are they trying to say here?
I don't know. I don't really see like historically all that much that like Asians were sort of like oppressed by whites, but I don't know.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm trying to figure out. It's like, then it says, to be clear, this is not a permission slip to shame Asian women and white men who are in happy, healthy, loving, and truly equitable partnerships. Another buzzword, like what does equitable mean? What does that mean? Equitable. Actually, I'm going to Google that because I don't know what exactly is that supposed to mean. That sounds like this sounds like a legal term or something like this. A lot of the terms they're using are like legal terms. Equitable definition. Okay, let's see. Fair and just, especially in a way that takes account of and seeks to address existing inequalities. Okay. Okay. All right. What does inequality mean? Inequality says the unfair situation in society when some people have more opportunities, money, etc., than other people. Okay, well, that's a lot packed into one word. Okay, so her definition of a good relationship is someone who's happy, healthy, loving, and truly equitable. I don't know if that's like an end-all be-all definition of like a good relationship. I don't know. Online commenters are quick to call all Asian women who date white men mail order brides, comfort women, and sex slaves. While unfortunately these labels may hold a grain of truth in some relationships, it's unfair and untrue to stereotype all Asian women as subservient gold diggers who are obsessed with white men. Similarly, not every white man in a relationship with an Asian woman is a white supremacist with an Asian fetish. This term fetish keeps coming out. Let me look at the definition of fetish. The definition of fetish is a form of sexual desire in which gratification is strongly linked to a particular object or activity or a part of the body other than sexual organs. Or to an inanimate object worshipped for its supposed magical powers or because it is considered to be inhabited by a spirit. Okay.
Yeah, I've never heard that last part in the definition of a fetish, but I guess we'll just let that roll for now.
Yeah. Well,
Weird.
Yeah, me too. Well, that's why I'm just trying to say, like, okay, so they're automatically saying, well, like, if you have an Asian fetish, that means that you don't love something or someone or something. But and the reason I think this is important to point out is, like, would they tell a gay person who's with someone with another fetish that, well, because you're with this person and you have a fetish, therefore you don't love them? See what I mean? Like, this is kind of where, like this is almost like extreme wokeness, where they're like, okay, we're gonna like use it. We're just gonna throw out a term like fetish that we glorify on one end, but not on the other end, right? So that's kind of why I'm pointing that out. I think it's a very weird, like, it's it's kind of like weakening the argument, because now you're just throwing in other terms that you're not really defining like why it's a problem, right? Okay, this is about a very specific subset of relationships where white supremacy is involved. So, okay, so you can have an Asian fetish but not be a white supremacist, maybe, but definitely if you're a white supremacist and you have an Asian fetish, that's definitely a problem. Okay, so the red pill. Progressive Western women want nothing to do with red-pilled men. 76% of American women say it is a huge red flag if a man identifies as a MAGA Republican. Okay, so this is about shaming men who identify with MAGA Republican. Other red flags for American women: if a man refuses to watch the Barbie movie, only believes that there are two genders, and listens to Joe Rogan. I mean, I agree with the last one for sure, but instead of working on their self-awareness and emotional intelligence, these dude bros pack their bags on a one-way flight to Asia in search of their dream trad wife. Red pill men target women from other countries, often less poor and less poorer. Oh my God, bitch can't even write. Often less poorer and less progressive countries, because they believe these women will share their conservative values. They seek subservient wives and girlfriends who embrace traditional gender roles and therefore affirm white men's dominance in the white patriarchal hierarchy. So yeah, the problem I see with them saying this is, like, are they saying that there's some sort of problem with Asian cultures because they make conservative women as well? Or is it just that men have the perception that Asian cultures have a more conservative culture than the West? Like, that's what I'm trying to figure out here. According to red-pilled men, Asian women are slimmer. And so so literally she just screenshots a random deleted post from 9 years ago. That's probably seen by like 15 people before this article. Men with Chinese, Japanese, Korea, Filipina, and Thai, universally slimmer and more submissive than Western girls. I'm done with white girls except for fucking and maybe if I find a unicorn. So this could have been a black guy a Native American person. Like, there's no way of knowing that this is a white person because it's a deleted account and there's no information on the account whatsoever. So, according to red-pilled men, Asian women are blah blah blah. You get it, which is appealing for alt-right men, slimmer and more submissive. Okay, so alt-right men prefer slimmer and more submissive women than Western women. Okay, so so you're identified as an alt-right person if you want someone who's slimmer and more submissive. Okay, they seek women who match their criteria for the perfect trad wife, which you would think would be white, number one, but apparently that's not the number one criteria. In both demeanor, quiet, subservient, hypersexual, and body type, young, skinny, petite. Asian women are already stereotyped to fit this exact mold, making us the perfect target. So, again, if you're saying that it makes us targets, are you saying that women have no responsibility? Right, and then it says here that some of these red-pilled men seem to have discovered, to their dismay, that many Asian women are actually not submissive at all. South Korea has made headlines with its 4B movement, in which women are swearing off sex, dating, marriage, and childbirth in protest against the patriarchy. China has a feminist movement that is decades old. Still, of course, not all women are the same. Red-pilled men intentionally select the women who reinforce their own desires for traditional femininity. Quiet, small, and submissive. I mean, see, if this was the case, wouldn't almost all white people be like shorter, fatter, and quieter? Like, logically speaking, if this is what men were seeking throughout history. I don't know. Machine, are you still there?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I mean, she's not critiquing the Asian societies for making the women submissive. She can pretty much verify that these Asian countries did not give countries, as much rights or have as powerful as a feminist movement as the white people countries, right? So she's not applauding the Western, world or even the Western women for not being submissive. Right? But she's kind of saying, well, it's like she's concentrating the problems only in one place. So it is what it is.
Yeah, it's like I'm genuinely trying to understand like what exactly is she trying to say, because it's so, and I'm looking at this map and it's like, okay, so basically the Western Europe, the conservative Islamic countries, which it looks like it's like Afghanistan, Yemen, somewhere else, UAE or something, Australia, are all in the same boat where it's like improbable to date. Russia and like looks like Kazakhstan or some shit, hard to date. Spain is hard to date. Whatever date means, I don't even know. Yellow is possible to date, so it says China, India, Mongolia, I guess. very bizarre. Japan is hard to date in, I guess. Trying to see here. Yellow. South Africa is hard to date, or possible to date, it says. Brazil, Argentina, Chile, and then I guess whatever. So it's basically saying like, and then it's like easy to date is like French Polynesia or Indonesia, I guess, or Philippines or something. And then she's like, well, this correlates with, oops, I went out of the article by accident. But she says this correlates with economic power or lack thereof. Poorer Asian countries like Thailand and Vietnam and the Philippines are rated as easy, while wealthier Asian countries like China, South Korea, and Japan are more difficult, but not impossible to date. Well, again, it's like, so are men not supposed to try to find places that's like easy to find a woman that wants to get married? Or so like this is what I'm confused. Like, is it the problem of like it seems like they're just mad that men are trying to even find traditional wives. Okay, let me go back here. If you haven't heard of Passport Bros, it's an entire movement of men who travel to other countries to sleep with foreign women and find traditional wives. Okay, but like, is it worse if they stay in America and just sleep around and never find a wife, or better? All right, see, this is what I'm trying to figure out. Okay, Passport Bros typically target women of color who live in poorer countries where women's rights are less advanced. Well, again, this is like propositioning that women's rights are always a good, and the currency exchange is in their favor. Okay, so it's like, okay, so you're saying that women who don't have rights respect more money. So they're basically saying like these women will exchange their bodies for money. I mean, that seems to be a kind of a insulting thing to say, but okay. The phenomenon, and if that's true, does that mean that that's how their Asian societies or these other poor places work in general, whether white men go there or not? I don't know. It's pretty weird. The phenomenon is so widespread that it has its own Reddit community, garnering 108,000 weekly visitors. 108,000 people in the world are looking for a traditional wife. I guess we better shut the world down. Inside, you'll find men sharing advice on travel visas, how to get girls in different countries, and which countries have better women. This lifestyle pairs perfectly with white supremacy and misogyny, treating women of color as sexual objects for men to dominate and conquer. I mean, how is that different than here in the West, where we have all these rights and all this like this, have all this like fluff around all this stuff? Like, what's the difference? I don't know. After doing some digging on the blah blah blah, the Passport Bro world map, a modern day Christopher Columbus. Okay, and then gender equality by country. So Scandinavia and New Zealand have the most gender equality. What does gender equality mean? That's another like nonsense term. Gender equality. I've never heard this like term before. Gender equality. What does that mean? A situation in which access to rights or opportunities is unaffected by gender. I mean, this is like a total nonsense term though. It's like, okay, first of all, what is access? What is rights? What is opportunity? And what does unaffected mean, right? Like,
right. If you go to a hospital as a pregnant woman, are you going to be treated as a non-pregnant man.
Yeah, I mean, it's like literally doesn't make any sense. It's like you could literally make this sentence mean anything. A situation in which access to rights or opportunities is affected by gender. I mean, that literally is saying nothing, in my opinion. Like, and what's funny is like if you go and talk to these left-wing people, they force you to say what's your pronouns. So you have to like tell them your pronoun. And so like I'll say, well, I'm a male, and they say, no, I'm asking your pronoun. I was like, well, what's a pronoun? And they say that's second grade education. I was like, I've never been asked like what my pronoun is. They're like, what? Why do I have to give you a pronoun? And they're like, he, him, ze, her, them, she, they. I'm like I was like, I'm a male, so that means I have male genitalia, right? And they're like, no, you don't get it. You're ignorant. So here's what it says. It says, so I look up the definition of pronoun. Pronouns are words, e.g., I, she, they, this, which, that replaces nouns or noun phrases to avoid repetition. Okay. Pronouns are words used to refer to people like he, she, they, and gender pronouns specifically reflect a person's gender identity. Moving beyond the traditional masculine, he, him, and feminine, she, her, to include gender-neutral options such as they, them, or neo-pronouns, ze, zer, for non-binary individuals. And so they have like this whole chart and stuff. But anyways, I like, this is what I'm saying is like, this is like a very layered article because it's just using nonsense terms and like hoping that the reader won't ask like, well, what does that mean though? Okay, so we see that it has some correlation with the Passport Bro map. Countries that experience the largest gender gaps tend to be more easy to date, while those marked as improbable to date tend to score highest on gender equality. Okay, so like if it's making it harder for men to date, to have gender equality, I mean, why would you expect that they would want to stick around and where they're having a harder time finding someone who wants to get married? I don't know. That's the reason why Iceland, Norway, and Finland aren't Passport Bro hotspots. In places where gender equality is valued and women are well educated and financially independent. So like I literally saw a video yesterday. It's from a guy who lives in Norway. And he said, in Norway, it's normal for us to have sex first and then we'll figure out the feelings later. So is that what gender equality is? And if that's the case, why wouldn't men be going to Norway as a passport bro? Do you see what I'm saying? Like it doesn't make any sense, right? Like so gender equality means that you just have random sex with random people without any emotional attachment, right? So is it the emotional attachment that men are finding in these other places that is the problem? Or that's why I'm genuinely trying to figure out like what does this mean? In places where gender equality is valued and women are well educated, blah blah blah. When a woman can provide, so see now she switched from the pronoun, so she's calling it a woman. See, she's not calling it a female, or maybe that's the right way to do it. Maybe woman is like a pronoun now or something. See, this is the thing is like it's all mental illness, right? It's like, is this about women? Because they say women can have penises now, right? So like, is this people that identify as a woman or? See, they're not. It's very inconsistent too. See, this is what's interesting. It's like when a woman can provide for herself, having a partner becomes optional, and a man's earning power becomes less important. Women in wealthy nations have the privilege. Well, they might have to check their privilege of selecting men based on personality and politics, or foregoing relationships with men altogether. In poorer countries where women are less financially independent, They may need to rely on men for financial security and thus be more willing to settle for a red-pilled passport bro who voted for Trump. Okay. Like, okay, so the reason I think this is relevant to your stuff, Machine, is like, okay, so they're saying that like economic development leads to gender equality and women's rights, and will necessarily lead to women not wanting to reproduce and not want to date and not be in long-term relationships and not get married and not have children and not be happy.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like, it's literally admitting like we want to industrialize the world to make women miserable, never get married, have some like nebulous term called gender equality and women's rights, even if it in the long term may not be the best. I don't know. And then they're like conflating like, well, if women have to rely on men for financial security, they will settle for a whatever a red pill passport bro is, and they have to throw in who voted for Trump, right? There's a lot of people who do this, by the way, that absolutely hate Trump. So I think it's also very interesting that like there's a ton of like extremely woke left-wing people that are doing the passport bro thing, by the way. I would say probably a lot more than MAGA people are doing that. At least the ones that I've heard about. I don't know, but okay. Okay, here we go. This is where it gets good. Right-wing Asian women. While many are quick to judge Asian women who date or marry Western men for financial security or green cards, we must recognize that there is a power dynamic at play. Okay, what is a power dynamic? I got to look that up. What is a power dynamic? Yeah. Power dynamics describe how power and control are distributed, exercised, and felt between individuals or groups, influencing communication, decisions, and relationships through formal roles or informal factors such as knowledge, charisma, and age, and revealing inherent imbalances or exchanges of influence. They are the ebb and flow of control, shaping social structures, workplaces, personal interactions, and reflect deeper inequalities. So, I mean, literally, this is like, you could call anything a power dynamic. I mean, so like the fact that I have like 2 testicles and,
Right.
higher testosterone means that
Right.
I automatically have a different power dynamic. So therefore, you can like analyze anything that I do through the lens of like higher testosterone or something. I mean, this is literally mental
Right.
retardation.
Right. We'll change our name to the Power Dynamic Lives. Right. Yeah.
Basically, yeah. I mean, it's that. So I like that. So you're saying that this is kind of like a social technology term or something. It's like, it's kind of a weird.
Pretty much. Yeah. It
Yeah.
sound like it's...
To a woman living in a poor country that lacks gender equality, again the term, the only way she can gain financial. So are you telling me that women only make decisions based on financial security? I mean, this is like extremely insulting to women. It's like women make no decisions other than for financial security and safety by partnering with a man who can offer her a quote unquote better life. I mean, this is like literally reducing women down to like economic units or something. It to me, this is like extremely dehumanizing. Alt-right men use this to their advantage. Okay, so using things to your advantage is now like evil, especially if you're an alt-right white. They specifically target countries where women are disempowered. Okay, what does that mean? Leveraging their citizenship. Okay, so now because I was born in a country and I have citizenship, I now own a privilege that is something that I can abuse because I have a citizenship in the United States. And economic status has power over women from poor countries. I mean, I've been to some of these poor countries, and the rich men in these countries literally wield their economic status all the time to like grape women and get away with it. So I mean, like, yeah, like to just compare, like, okay, anybody who goes there and has like some, you know, citizenship or quote unquote economic status is automatically better than the women there. So it's just bizarre. It's like I don't quite understand what she's trying to say. It doesn't help that conformity is taught from a young age in many Asian collectivist cultures. Oh, I thought they were for collectivism. I thought left-wing people are for collectivists. Many Asian women are trained. Oh, okay. So Asian women are trained, but white men aren't trained by their culture, right? So white men from Western countries have agency. Women from Asia don't have agency. Oh, see, they were trained. So many Asian women are trained to keep the peace, prioritize our safety and security. Okay, so she's admitting that white men provide peace, safety, and security and systems for them to comply to. See, this is weird. It's like she's kind of admitting in a way that like white men are providing peace, safety, and security. Okay. While this is great for maintaining harmony in collectivist societies, it isn't as helpful when it comes to fighting the patriarchy. What is the patriarchy? What is this term? What is the patriarchy? Patriarchy is a social system where men hold primary power and dominance, controlling social, economic, political, and religious institutions, often tracing lineage and inheritance through the male line. Okay. It's a structured hierarchy, not just individual men, that privileges men and disadvantages women and girls by associating them, lower status and limiting their opportunities, creating an unequal power dynamic, there's the word again, and restricting everyone's emotional expression through rigid gender roles. I mean, isn't this just a long way of saying that like women are economic units that need to be used by the system for economic purposes? I mean, that's all this is. That, like, when I read this, that's all it's telling me. It's like they're saying patriarchy stops women from being used as economic units, but we need to abolish patriarchy so women will become economic units in a system. I mean, that's what I'm hearing. I don't know. Am I wrong? Am I losing my mind or what? Is this not totally basically saying this seems to be saying that women should be economic units in the system, essentially. Well, actually, this makes my article much better because I honestly didn't read this. I just put her article through my already pre-written stuff. Okay. Oh my God, she quotes Andrea Dworkin. Interesting. As Andrea Dworkin notes in her book, Right-Wing Women, women who choose relationships with right-wing men often do so out of self-preservation. From father's house to husband's house to a grave, that still might not be her own. A woman acquiesces is a that's an allusion to consent, by the way. So this is like tying consent back to what she's talking about. A woman acquiesces to male authority to gain some protection from male violence. Okay, so women give consent to male authority to gain some protection from male violence. Okay, so this is basically saying like all men are dangerous inherently because they're capable of violence. Therefore, you know, men are inherently like the problem with society, essentially. I mean, that's basically what this is saying. Even among Asian women born in wealthier countries like the United States or Canada, this mindset of conformity and compliance persists. Under capital W white patriarchy, Asian women may choose to marry conservative, while men, under the illusion that they will be protected from racism, misogyny, and violence if they partner with the person who holds the power. I mean, does a passport bro hold power though? Or does the average white guy in America hold power? I don't know. This is a very interesting argument. He might be cruel to other people who look like her, but she is no longer one of them. She is chosen. She is different. She is special. And so she marries him. I mean, that's the whole crux of the whole thing, isn't it? Right? It's like, she is chosen, she is different, she is special. So she's Jewish. Is that what they're saying here? So the white patriarchy sure sounds a lot like the Jewish religion or something like that. Might have found a connection here. So is this against Judeo-Christian values? Cultural Christianity? I think that's what I think this is actually what they're saying. They're like actually saying like cultural Christianity is the problem, is the enemy here. Not all relationships between Asian women and white men are rooted in white supremacy, of course. For example, Patsy Mink was the first Asian American woman to be elected to U.S. Congress, co-authored Title IX to give women equal opportunities, and fought for civil rights and organized labor. I've never heard of this person. Sounds like the new Rosa Parks. Sounds like an Uncle Tom to me. Let's see here. Grew up in Hawaii. She was Japanese, third generation Japanese. Of course, she went to the University of Chicago Law School. Let's see here. House of Representatives. Family background. So their family had 11 children. They lived in a shack in Hawaii. And she became educated by a Christian girls boarding school, and became the first person of color in the House of Representatives. I mean, she sounds like a product of white supremacy. I mean, what do you want me to say?
Right. How many white people are in the Congress of the country where she's from? Right.
Yeah. I mean, it's like okay, so she's a product of white supremacy, but she's totally not a part of the white supremacy. It's like, it's bizarre. It's like, okay. I mean, they'll never say that, like, well, the woman who, you know, has to fight and survive as a single mom in Detroit, Michigan, or in you know, Nebraska, or, you know, Iowa, and nobody's ever heard her name, like, and she happens to be Asian or something. They'll never say that, like, well, this is an example of somebody who's, you know, not with the patriarchy. It's like, no, this person who was like literally brought up in like Catholic boarding school or something and became a law student or something. Racial segregation, blah 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 blah. I'm just trying to see, like, what's the deal here. She earned like a bachelor's degree in zoology and chemistry, and she got a law school degree. So she basically spent like 20 of her adult life years. Oh my God, dude, this. Oh, okay, I see. She got her Juris Doctor degree, and then her husband got a master's degree in geology or something. Okay, it's like these guys are like literally products of the white supremacist education system. I mean, you just can't get more fucking brainwashed than these people. Criminal and family law, young Democrats. I mean, this is like bizarre, dude. Let's see who's coming in. Somebody's in the back here. Uh-oh. What's up, baby? And then let's continue on here. I got about 30 minutes. I got about 20 more minutes. I got to run. All right. So I'll be brief.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah, I know this is kind of boring and stuff, but I'm just trying to, like,
I think it's all right, dude. It's your show.
But I think this is really interesting. It's like I'm just trying to get through this. Like, okay, what are they selling here? Because this is a bigger thing. All right, where's this girl's personal life or whatever? Wait, they don't even say. Okay, let's see who her husband was. I want to see who was this Uncle Tom's husband over here. John Mink. He doesn't even say anything about her husband. Probably a Jew, if I had to guess.
I mean, the most obvious thing that she's not mentioning is that if you have, you know, babies with an Asian, your babies are going to look pretty white.
Right.
So, you know, like they have the same skin color as you. So I don't know.
Right. Well, it's just weird. Yeah. And then it says, okay, so she also married a white man. Even Derek Chauvin's Lao American ex-wife, Kelly Chauvin, quickly filed for divorce 2 days after her then husband murdered George Floyd in 2020, refusing to comply with her then husband's actions and expressing her sympathies for Floyd's family. It's like, okay, well, I guess that also means that when Asian women get married to white guys and say in sickness and in health, you know, it's good to break those vows because, well, those vows don't mean anything. They're just a tool to get something in an economic and social dynamic power play, I guess. Oh, and that's a good thing. Okay. As we work towards a future where Asian women are no longer viewed as a monolith, we must grant Asian women in relationships with white men the same grace. The solution is not to shame Asian women or cast judgment on healthy couples, quote unquote. It's to empower Asian women so none of us ever feel like, okay, so this entire thing is about how you feel. Okay, let me read this again. It's to empower Asian women so none of us ever feel like we have to submit to the very men who actively, quote unquote, dehumanize us
and shoot white women in the head. Let's put that at the end.
which would actually be a part of dismantling white supremacy, if you think about it. I mean, if we're shooting white women in the head, the math seems to work out that would actually be ending white supremacy, because men can't have babies unless this guy is actually like a female to male trans, and then maybe, you know, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, it's just like crazy, insane rhetoric, in my opinion. I mean, I respect the hustle though. I think my
Yeah.
article is going to be a banger for sure. Cause
Yeah, I mean the 5 dudes that are dating Asian women and shooting white women in the head. Stop it, stop it, stop that. Shame on you, shame on you, dude. Like, what's your problem, dude? Like, you can't just chill.
just get run over by a car and get your head popped like a balloon. Bend it over and take it from the femdom society. Okay.
Like, next time you want to date an Asian woman, just chill, bro.
That's right. Put your dick back in your pants or just cut it off. It's probably the best solution.
Yeah, well, I have some stuff to say about Asian and white male relationships, or just, I think the most important thing is you gotta respect each other's cultures and stuff, because the cultures are very far apart, but also there could be room for respect, mutual respect, stuff like that. And the thing is, all men, some men can be bad, some men can be good, some men try to impose their culture on or vice versa, stuff like that. But, it's just good and bad. You just gotta, so it's not good to generalize too much, stuff like that. It's all about context and mutual respect. Here you go. Yeah, I think so. China and Japan all have rich cultures, very, very ancient legacies. And so does Europe, of course. Yeah, so yeah.
Yeah, I actually feel bad because the article I'm going to write is going to be so savage, and I'm actually feel bad. I think this article that she wrote actually really sucks. So, like probably the best thing I could do for her is like at her in my article and watch all the people rage, because then she's going to write us something saying how like it proves everything that she's saying. And if you guys don't mind, I'll read you a little bit. I'm not going to read the whole thing because honestly, it's pretty graphic, and I'm not sure if I really want to release this thing as it is right now, because it's very transgressive. I'll say it like that, the way I wrote it. But I'll read a little bit to you guys. Okay. So let me read some of the. I'll read some of it, so, just to give you a preview. Excuse me. Okay, babes, lean in real close. Feel my breath on your neck like a secret promise. My fingers ghosting over your skin. Circling that sensitive spot and holding back, making you squirm with anticipation. From our last steamy chat, where I confess those white male, Asian female edges in the dark. My hands slipping under silk sheets next to my my lesbian hairy wife. Imagining a white man's strong grip pulling me close. So, and I'm leaving some of the details out here, but some of you clutched your pearls, whispering, "Anya, that's too wild, too divisive, but stick with me. Now let me edge you into a deeper into this truth, paragraph by a teasing paragraph, tension coiling like a spring until you're gasping, surrendering to the climax. Katie Ho's I married a white supremacist isn't ecofeminism. It's a slimy cog in a patriarchal, Trotskyist, transhumanist, Malthusian, capitalist plot, sacrificing white male, Asian female couple, and every normal human relationship on its cold altar." And like this thing, I was listening to this yesterday, and I was like literally like feeling so ashamed, but I was laughing because it was really funny. I didn't write all this myself, obviously, but like I gave it very specific instructions on like how to write it, and and then it says, so it says, this faux feminism betrays women, serving endless patriarchal disruption, tech god immortality chases, population culling eco scares, all to trap us in. Capitalism's web. Fill that build, babes. Let's start slow, easing in like fingertips, tracing your thighs, promising the depths will dive. Poe's article opens with a hook. Help, I married a white supremacist. framing it as an eco-feminist wake-up call to Asian women and white male Asian female relationships, especially those tingled with alt-right or MAGA men. She claims these unions uphold white patriarchy rooted in Asian fetishes and economic exploitation. But babes, this is the plot's opening tease, a divide and conquer lure. Gabriel Rockhill in Counter History of the Present exposes how the U.S. imperialism funds identity politics to fracture class solidarity, diverting rage from economic chains to cultural scraps. Poe's piece slots right in. By zeroing in on white male, Asian female as vectors of supremacy, it pits races and genders, masking capitalism's grind. Not direct think tank cash. Her bio screams indie activist with gigs at Feminist and Nextshark, but the alignment's there, echoing neoliberal cultural ops that keep us divided. Feel that gentle throb, it's the truth pulsing closer. Now, point one. So, anyways, it just goes on and on like this, but I'll try to just skip around a little bit. Okay, it says talking about the guy with the Filipino wife, and he says she quotes his viral post painting white male, Asian female as hypocritical havens for hate. Rebuttal time. Lean in close as I circle this claim slow. Umberto echoes fascism, cautions against sloppy labels. His 14 traits, cult of tradition, machismo, fit real fascism, but Ho slaps supremacists on isolated creeps like Ross, ignoring how white male, Asian female couples are everyday loves, not hate nests. Echo would call this dilution fuzzy totalitarianism, where nuance dies and interracial bonds get scapegoated. Renee Girard in The Scapegoat nails it. Mimetic rivalry builds tension vented on a victim. Oops. Here, white male, Asian female to restore faux order. Poe's scapegoating distracts from capitalism's role in ice wars. Economic disparities driving migration. This isn't feminism, it's patriarchal Trotskyism. Leon's permanent revolution twisted into endless cultural upheaval. Per Caleb Maupin's bread tube served in capitalism, funding disruptions to block stable unity. Add transhumanism, Peter Thiel in 0 to 1 warns tech immortality quest mock human bonds, pushing engineered divisions over organic white male, Asian female warmth. And Malthusianism, Poe's ecofeminism nods to overpopulation scares, subtly culling quote unquote undesirable unions like white male, Asian female to control demographics, echoing Thomas Malthus' an essay on the principle of population where scarcity justifies elite control. So it goes on and on. Like I just basically like, it's like, this is like a really long article, but I just basically like quote like super esoteric writings and like just basically say she's basically like a capitalist pig working for the white male patriarchy, pretending that she's oh yeah, Zephyr, by the way, this I'll send you a copy of this article if you want, but it is very 50 Shades of Gay. It's a pretty well, I'll read a little bit of the naughty stuff here just to because it's pretty bad. I tried to oh my god. Okay. All right, I'm not going to read this full thing because I'm too embarrassed to read it, but I'll read part of it. Okay, it says, pause for a breath, loves, like a lover hovering before the kiss. Remember my night with Ben, that southern white beacon. He started in dim light, whispers flowing like wine. His hands on my knees, sliding up slow, igniting sparks. Laughter melted into kisses, tender lips to meeting mine. Clothes fell away, exploring my curves, pinching me until I gasped. I can't read all this, but but then it says, eyes locked. He whispered, Anya, our white male Asian female love defies their plot. Let's create life against the machine. Releasing hot floods as I clench. I can't. What's up, man? The Appalachian Grill is here, but let's see where I left off. See if I have a.
Yeah, what up, family?
What's up, man?
No blessings.
I was just reading one of my Goy Slop articles, but I'm not reading the full thing because it's a little bit too graphic here. But
Goy slop article, like one of the AI generated joints.
yeah, I was writing it in response to this lady who was saying, like the guy who shot Renee Good is like a white supremacist married to a Filipino, and that the alt-right is like has an Asian fetish, and that we need to stop it because she's like an eco-feminist, and she's like, well, white supremacy upholds the patriarchy, and so our article is basically saying that like actually she's working for the patriarchy by saying all this, and that she's actually just trying to like keep men from finding women who will actually like have kids with them. So she's actually like harming actual feminism and stuff like this. So I'm like basically like doing jujitsu on her, saying like she's the real capitalist patriarchy lover person or something. So, but I kind of made it sound like a Daniel Steele novel. So I was like, it's like an Asian woman who like falls in love with like a Southern hick who like says racist things and stuff like that. So that's kind of the gist of the article.
Got you. Yeah, man, listen, I attack the left from the left and the right from the right. You know what I mean? Like, it's fucking way more fun that way.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's kind of what I'm trying to do is like, because like here's the thing is like, I like trolling the right, but it's not as fun. Like I think trolling the left is more fun because if you say the right words, they're forced to respond to you, but right-wing people just won't respond. So like I'm kind of like trying to figure out how to like troll the left to like make them engage. Because the right, a lot of right-wing people, they'll like they won't really engage. I feel like, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong.
Well, no, the problem with right-wing people is like, for the most part, like they're fucking retarded. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of the issue with the right-wing people. Is like they're dumb. Right? The vast majority of them are like they're so far removed from like real ideas or like fucking any type of critical thinking that like they don't have, like they're just spouting shit that like their dads and their dads and their dads before them spouted. Right? And it's all just nonsense. They don't know why they're saying it. They're Pavlovian like trained in that way. You know what I'm saying?
Unfortunately, I do know what you're saying. Yeah, that's been most of my experience recently, kind of going back into the right wing commentary side of things, like on TikTok and Instagram, and well, there's not really any on Instagram, but going and trying to find other people. Substack has been a little bit better for sure, but most of the people
way more fun. It's way more fun.
Well, it is, but like I would say that most of the right wing people on Substack are like, they're so educated that they're almost like not right wing anymore. So like it's kind of weird in that way, as I would say.
Yeah. I get what you're saying, right? I 100% understand exactly what it is you're getting into there, right? It's like, okay, so again, it's that horseshoe thought thing, right? Where it's like when you go so far right, you end up being left, right? You know what I mean? Like, so the right wing in America is just like capitalism, like with social, like with like Christian values, and then the left wing is just like capitalism with managerial value.
I hate how much sense that actually makes with what you're saying. Can you get it more into that?
Yeah. So like, like the like when all right, when you talk about like American like fucking liberalism, right? When you talk about like liberalism in like the American sense, where it's like, oh, they're liberal. Well, both sides in America are liberal, right? It's just one side is like the fucking social side, and one side is like the capitalist side. But ultimately, as of like Ronald Reagan, they both became the capitalist side. It's just one defends the managers and like one defends the asset holders.
So they're basically both reinforcing capitalism
Yes.
at all costs, essentially.
Yes. As a structure, right? Because one's the guys who are like the mid-level managers running it, and the other ones are like the guys who are they're like the fucking the stockholder motherfucking in like the asset class. Like the very, very upper CEO class and stockholder class.
So basically on both sides are basically just totally being funneled from. Well, why do you think they're more scared of the right or the left? Who do you think they're like actually poses a bigger threat to
Oh, the right.
capitalism?
The right by far. The right by
Okay.
far.
Right. So
Right
that's
by
why they want to
distance.
keep them uneducated, essentially.
Yeah, I mean, number one, but number two, they also want to keep them incohesive, right? Because like what the right wing really wants in the end of the day is family and community. And that's the most dangerous fucking thing in the world in a capitalist class. Because ultimately capitalism requires like the workers and the land not to be tied to any type of cultural or like ethnic people. The moment like an ethnos comes out, that's why like all right, that's why like fucking you have like these fucking when you have these countries that end up getting taken over, right? The argument is always like if they want us there because like we bring democracy, right? When we say that, what we're saying is like we're bringing like Western fucking like consumerist values instead of like letting them have their land and their gods and the things that they think are sacred, right?
Right.
Like they
Well,
don't.
which is
Go ahead.
ironically what you would call white. Sorry to interrupt you, but that's essentially like white values, right? Like you know what I mean? Like that's interesting. Like I'm actually starting to understand what you were getting at before. Like it took me a while, but like I'm getting there. Okay, so this is really interesting. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of like the whole. That's why I get upset about the white thing because it's like, what the fuck does that even mean? In the end of the day, like, really, when it comes down to it, what it means is that like, you support the system that keeps you motherfucking tied to the human beings, right? Who stand here and rule over you, right? And I mean, and who like will fucking just take advantage of you repeatedly. Like when we go, hey, listen, fucking, this is my dad. This was my fucking family's land for the past 4 or 5 generations, right? When we say these things, right? The capitalist class goes, we know and we want you to fucking sell it to us, right? We don't. They don't want you to have that tied to the land at all. That's the worst thing in the world to them. That's the most dangerous thing in the world to them. Is you being actually you and your family long term having ties to the land, because then they got to compensate you generationally for what happens, and that gives you way too much power.
Yeah, I think you're onto. I think you're onto it, and well, and it's kind of like that thing that I was reading that we were talking about recently, and I think it goes into what Machine was saying the other day about like the he described to Claudia the whole like different wings of this thing, and I can't remember exactly how he did it, but I'm kind of hoping he'll repeat it. But it reminds me of that because I was looking at this video about home ownership, right? Like an average house in a place that you'd want to live for like a normal commuter job in any major metro is about 500,000. So like the average price of like a normal house in America right now is like 500,000. If you want to have like a normal, quote unquote, normal suburban slash, metro lifestyle and a job and stuff, right? And so the amount that
Yeah.
you need to make to actually be able to pay for that house is more than what you and I both said. It's about $180,000 to actually afford that house and not be
Yes.
totally fucked over, right?
Yes.
So yeah, so that means you either need like 4 incomes of normal people or 1 or 2 people that make way above average of what most people are making in America, right? So yeah, it's pretty insane
Yeah.
for sure.
I'm going through that right now. Like I have a high income, right? You know what I'm saying? Like I make $105,000 a year. But like my credit's shot because I'm carrying the load of everybody on my fucking back. Right? Like it's like every 10 minutes I got a motherfucker coming up to me with their hands out, and like these are people I give a fuck about, so I look after them. Right? Whether it's my dad, female, my kids, my baby's moms, you know what I'm saying? Like fucking, my brothers and sisters, whoever it is, right? And so like, I'm standing like fuck, my transmission's out in my fucking car, right? Which just happened today. God damn it. And I'm trying to come up with $6,000 off the rack. And it's almost impossible to do. And it's like the dealership, I went to the dealership, I'm like, what the fuck do I do? They go, listen, we'll just put you in another car. Don't worry about it. I was like, God damn it. Now just dig the hole deeper. Fuck it. Right? And that's the basic structure of it at this point. You know what I mean? Where it's like, bro, just keep digging. You know what I mean? Like fucking just dig the hole deeper, right? And maybe we'll come out on the other motherfucking side. And that's what they're trying to do, is just keep your ass motherfucking digging that goddamn hole and running on that hamster wheel forever. Right? You know what I mean? Because ultimately they don't want you to have anything left to hand down to anybody to fuck else.
No, that's
Right?
100%. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
100%. The
That's
whole
what it is.
system is predicated on that for sure. Like it does not want you to ever get out of debt. Like the worst thing you can
Yes.
do is to get out of debt. If you get out of debt, the system will do everything it can to fuck you over. Like it's weird. Like they need you to be constantly in debt. Like
Well,
yeah,
because debt creates money. Like, all right, so like a lot of people don't know this, right? But like actually the Federal Reserve doesn't make any money. Right? Like it doesn't create money. That's not how any of this works. There's a lot of retards out here who are running around going, oh, the Federal Reserve is a jerk creature from Jekyll Island. Oh, the Federal Reserve. Right? It's all nonsense. Right? 98% of all your money is created by your bank. Right? It's your paycheck every week is money that was printed into like creation through like a credit line that's ran to your motherfucking company. Right? So like literally like your company's run, so like your company only gets paid every 45 to 90 days. Usually it's like 45, sometimes it's 90 depending on the contract, right? And in having this be this way, what ends up happening is you have like these you end up having like your company not having enough money to pay your paycheck, and they're always running on like a credit balance. And so every time they print your paycheck or they give you your paycheck, that money don't exist yet. They're waiting to get paid for the work that you did. Right? And so like that's how all your money is created. And once you take out loans because you're on the same level, so where I'm waiting to get paid or I'm trying to like pull forward my income to be able to afford the things I need to be able to survive today, right? That's creating more money. And when they create more money, it allows them to be able to liquidate the motherfucking system, which alleviates, like their need to motherfucking be able to pay their debt. And also increases demand for currency.
So if you had to guess of like how this is going to go down,
no clue.
What would be like what would be the first domino to fall? Okay, so like immigration's first, get women out of the workforce second. What would be the next domino?
There is like I have no idea, dog. Here's the one I've been thinking about recently that kind of like bugs me out. When the day of the pillow comes, America is going to be like fucking 30 to 40% white after that day.
What do you mean after that day? What does that mean?
Well, you know what a day of the pillow is, right?
When the boomers finally die?
Yeah, we'll go with that. You know what I'm saying? Right? Or when we put them all on the ice floe and kick them off the motherfucking off the side of a motherfucking
Right,
lake,
right.
whatever the case is. You know what I'm saying?
Well, as the schizos would say, when Bill Gates finally kills grandma, is that what you mean?
Yeah. Listen, and by the way, thank God for that guy's a fucking saint. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, he's doing the Lord's work, and like, yo, fuck grandma. Like, I just went through it with my mom yesterday. Right? I was like, my mom's like, hey, do your daughters want some atomizers? I'm like, they're 6 and 7. They can't smoke weed. Like, what are you talking about? Oh, no, the perfume bottles from grandma. They want something to remember grandma by? Like, they never met the woman. What are you talking about? Like, yo, listen, what? How about you, like, yo, you're going to get $1 million off of selling grandma's house. How about you call some up for someone else over here on the bottom? Right? And she's like, you and your mental illness, you greedy piece of shit. Fuck you. Right? This is the boomers. This is the fucking boomers.
Yeah.
Self-absorbed main character syndrome piece of shit. You're just like, bruh, I'm starving to death. Help me. Help me, nigga. You know what I'm saying? Help me. Right? And like they're just like, yo, fuck you. You know what I mean? That's where it is.
Yeah, it's well. I grew up with boomers, and so like I try to see it through their lens. You know what I mean? And I think a lot. I mean, of course, we all want. Well, maybe not. I want to think that there were some good boomers, and I think maybe I carry some of their traits. At least according to some people, they will say like, well, you're like I don't want to help people, but it's also like this thing. It's also like this like. If you grew up on a farm where like your brothers got ran over by tractor equipment and it was kind of like at 5 to 7 years old, you're already a man, like, doing things as an adult would have to do because you had to survive and eat, right? And then suddenly you get all this wealth that's kind of just handed to you, and then you're told that this wealth is the product of your labor, right? When it's actually not, right?
Yeah.
Then you'll think, well, if I give people my wealth, it will make them weaker because I had to earn it through like suffering. And if I give it to them, it'll make them weak because they didn't have to earn it through suffering. Does that make sense? Like, I think that's kind of where some of it comes from.
Listen. I completely understand what you're saying. But the boomers didn't die on farms. They weren't born on farms. The boomers were born in the suburbs. That's the bitch, right? The boomers were born in nice neighborhoods. Like, yeah, like, their brothers and sisters, some of them caught like mumps and measles and rubella and shit. A couple of them might have passed away here and there. But honestly, almost all of them lived. Like, the child mortality rate was unbelievably low when the boomers were kids. Right? So this idea, right, that like these boomers, you know what I'm saying, like had, like this crazy like childhood experience is just way wrong. They didn't. Right? This is the fucking problem. Like, yo, listen, my generation, right? Like the kids who were born when I was born, right? Like the early 80s to the mid 80s kids, right? Who grew up in the AIDS epidemic, grew up in the crack epidemic, grew up in, the Rust Belt, grew up with like deindustrialization as a norm, the divorce epidemic, all this shit, right? We're the listen, we are the first generation since like probably the Spanish flu, right? To really have actual trauma in childhood.
Yeah, well, I definitely think that it's been totally underestimated how fucked over we have been and continue to get it. And I think that's why they're keeping the housing prices so fucking high. Is just a way to basically like make us all give up and just, don't fucking try to buy a house, don't try to start a farm, don't try to get married. It really does seem that, I mean, I'm not trying to be totally fully schizo or whatever, but like I really do think it seems on purpose.
What happened? Did this dude just leave? Oh. Yo, you there?
Yo, yeah, I'm not sure what happened. I lost audio, so I couldn't hear anybody.
Yeah, Pinoy just dropped out. He just like left. But yeah.
All this like what do you call it? Like communist shit. I never really paid much attention to it. Honestly, I thought I was like, oh, that's just some weird belief that some crazy dude believed in, and kind of failed, and people just LARP as it. But now I'm starting to think it's like, wow, like maybe this whole communist thing is really just how shit's run totally.
Well,
But
that's
they're
the thing
using
is like,
capitalism as like a way to hide that or something.
well, that's the thing is like how Alul explains, like, like capitalism, communism and fascism. These are just modes in which, the technological society functions within. So it's just like, like once the ideologies are developed, you could just use them as tools. They don't have to be like something that you take up. You know what I mean?
Right. It's just more of like it's more of just like a how you get shit done more than like an
Yeah.
ideology or
Yeah, it's a
belief
technique.
or
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
it supersedes any like morality or religious belief or anything like that. It's just more like, well,
Yeah, pretty
I got a
much. Yeah.
hammer. There's some nails I got to knock down, and this hammer kind of works better for this use, so I'll just use this hammer instead of that one. Or this
Right.
sickle is better for this use, so I'll just use this sickle. But it's not really like an ideological like belief in like communism. But that's what's funny to me is like all these people are like LARPing like, oh, I hate capitalism, I this and that. But it's like they're actually like huge fans of capitalism, which is that's kind of why I wrote this like rebuttal
No, no,
argument.
no. They're fans of utilitarianism.
Okay, what do you mean by that? Because I love that term, but what do you mean by that?
Yeah, so capitalism, socialism, and communism are utilitarian movements, right?
Right. Yeah.
Like it's not. They're not actually like. So capitalism is like a movement about allowing individuals to have the freedom to not be attached to the land and their families, or communities, or people, right? Kings, all these type of things, right? Motherfucking communism is a ideology that allows you to not be reliant upon like actually it's socialism. It doesn't that allows you to not be reliant around people around you, like your family, right? You know what I mean, and things of this nature. And like communism is just another stretch of this. Depend on who you talk to, because like communism is a weird fucking thing that can be small or large, right? Like every family's kind of communistic, but like fucking like it doesn't scale large wise. But all of them are just ways of distributing goods, right? At trying to be the most efficient at doing so. Capitalism seeks profit to do it, and communism seeks or socialism seeks motherfucking the best distribution of motherfucking goods. You know what I mean, through like larger mechanisms and governments.
But do you think that the people who are running things, or I know you say that maybe there's nobody really running it, but could also be smoke screens to hide like what your actual goal is? Meaning like obviously they want to get rid of like people tied to the land, so they get more profit. But do you think there could be like a higher level goal behind all that, or is that just like functionally like even if they wanted to stop it, they couldn't because the addictions to set in, I guess, or something to be
No, I
stopped?
mean ultimately power like abhors a vacuum, right? You know what I mean? And it'll fill any vacuum that it comes across. So like when you're talking about socialism and like fucking like the power structures of governments, like governments are just going to fill whatever cup is like available, right? So if you don't have like the basic structures, right, that allow you to be able to feed yourself, the government's going to build that shit. That's how it operates. You know what I mean? And by the way, all these governments are ran by like metropolitan, cosmopolitan people, and you have to have socialism in cities because I want to see you have a city where everybody deals with their own garbage or their own sewage. Like have a high-rise fucking like apartment complex and have all the individuals figure out what to do with their fucking poop. Doesn't
I
work.
see what I see what you're saying, right?
Yeah.
But
So
then
like this is their
simultaneously,
natural way.
it's like the cities are looshing off of the rural areas to maintain their socialism while that socialism's good, but then they're really just kind of using socialism as kind of like a bludgeon to like destroy the people of the land or something like that.
Well, farming requires communism and socialism is the bitch. There's no such thing as capitalistic farming.
And by the way, I'm still here. I just have to jump off and switch for a minute. So I'm listening. You guys, I'll be back. I'll be back.
Yeah. Yo, avians here, motherfucking machines here. Yo, listen,
Yeah.
Yo, machine, check out that article I dropped today.
The Machiavelli?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't take a look at it yet. But yeah.
What you think?
What about the concept or? Yeah, I'm absolutely on the concept, you know. Yeah, are you there?
Machine, say something.
I don't know if you can hear me. Can you hear me? Damn. It's happening again with where people can't hear people.
Can you hear me?
Oh,
Can you hear me?
God damn it.
He can't hear us.
In
Can you
gear.
hear me?
There we go.
Pinoid?
Yeah,
Pinoid,
you
can you
gotta
hear me?
hop out and come back in. Here, hold on. Let me tell him. Hop out and come back in. Hop out and come back in. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that shit's happening.
Swear to God.
But you know, if he hops out, then Neurojack might not be here to let him back in. So this is another thing.
Can you hear me, TML?
Yeah,
Is
I can hear
anybody
you.
talking? Because I can't hear nobody.
I can hear you, but he can't hear us ever since Neurojack hopped out of the
Yeah.
studio. Yeah, I doubt he's looking at the.
I fucking hate StreamYard crap. This shit is fucking so trash. No, I can't hear shit. I'm sorry.
It's all good. Yeah, so I mean, if he doesn't come back in 10 minutes, I'm planning on leaving, honestly, because he will strand us here.
Yeah.
We got Zephyr out here. I wonder who else is watching. We got Earth Supporter. Yeah, this is how it goes at Neurojack show, you know. Robots might make the communist free farming, but who would buy the produce? Probably other robots. Just program bots to buy shit for a fake economy. People own bots, and then the bots make money. And poor people don't own as many bots as rich people, so they have less bots. Everybody has bot money. The bot economy. Yeah, I just invented a new economic system. The Neurojack.
What's it called?
It's the bot economy.
Nice.
Basically, everybody owns bots, but rich people own more bots, poor people own less, and the bots go and make money.
I mean, I'll be honest with you. That's exactly what I'm trying to figure out. Is like, how do I make an AI to just make money for me, and then I can go do whatever I want? I just
Right.
want to be like the first poor person who figures out how to do that for like almost for free, right? And then I could say, well, like, you know, maybe I'll just say like I wash my hands of the responsibility because it's the AI, not me, or something. I don't know.
Yeah, there's got to be college students that have done something like that.
Well, there's a lot of people claiming to have done it, and then they're like, "I've made so much money doing this. I don't need your money, but you pay me like $3,000. I'll teach you how to do it." It's like, well, why wouldn't you just keep making more money rather than ask somebody to pay you to teach them how to make money? See what I mean? Doesn't make sense.
Right. Yeah, that's always part of the commercial too. I know what you're thinking. Why would somebody who's made millions of dollars need to help other people make any, small amount of money?
Yeah, and then you find out like 80% of their income's coming from
Something
you
else.
know,
Yeah.
something. Yeah, well, from you paying them how to show you how to make it, right?
Exactly. Right. Yep.
Sorry, guys, I'm making a milkshake right now.
Yeah. Pinoid hopped out because he couldn't hear anybody. So.
Hell no.
Yeah.
I get it. I mean, this StreamYard is like kind of weird.
Yeah. Exactly.
But definitely, if you guys want to stay and do some stuff, you guys can. I'm going to be a little distracted.
Yeah, it's no
are,
worries.
are,
Shut her down.
are you guys experiencing the snowstorm coming up here?
From California? No, probably not.
No. On the East Coast and stuff, like there's supposed to be like a bunch of
I mean, it's been fucking just frozen solid here for like 2 weeks. So I don't know what.
well, I guess it's going down south or something. I mean, it's gonna be like 50 degrees here tomorrow, so it's pretty cold for us. So it could be worse, right?
Yeah, it's a tundra. I was walking in the parking lot at the mosque and I almost fell on my fucking ass. Because the parking lot's just a frozen fucking ice cube.
You got to get those. You got to get those snow cleats and shit.
Yeah. But yeah, I think shut it down. I will just play music on my channel and then I will go to sleep. And that's pretty much it.
Sounds good.
A pretty much lo-fi night for me, and then.
No, I appreciate it. I appreciate you guys checking out the stuff with me.
You want to talk about anything, Neurojack, with me, or any topic you want?
I do, but I'm a little busy, so I can't really like hold my phone and stuff. So
yeah, that's fine.
I'm out in the real world doing stuff. So like I'm using one hand. You know?
Yeah, it's no worries.
Yeah, no worries.
But yeah, appreciate you guys. We'll do it again soon, and yeah. Imagine there's some exit music playing right now. So
yeah, tomorrow I may start the show maybe an hour and a half early, at 6 p.m. instead, and because we're gonna restream NPC the Games show. So I think maybe tomorrow I'll just make it a light day where we just come together and we don't have that much material. And I may give my do an opener for 2 hours from 6 to 8, and then 8 p.m. is when his show starts, and then I'll just watch a show for the rest of the stream. Really.
What is that? What's that going to be about? Is that an open panel, or is that the award show, or?
Yeah, it's just an award show. I think at some point there will be an open panel there, but he's only doing it for 4 hours, so I'll just watch his show, restream it, and then just end my show. Right. And I'll probably celebrate like 400 episodes. I'll just title my show 400 shows and / NPC the Game restream. Yeah, Neuro's up for an award, huh? Yeah, I didn't notice that. That's funny.
Wait, are you serious? No way.
It'd be funny if you win.
That would be hilarious.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know what that. I'll take it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. That'd be. I'm kind of interested. I want to know like who put him up to the whole award show idea. Like, and if it's Andrew Wilson, does that mean that Andrew Wilson now like supports the Panelverse or what?
No, I think he was saying like it's something somebody told him that you want to have everyone who comes on your show on a live stream. So you have a yearly event where you invite everybody to your channel. And it does kind of seem like a good idea. But yeah.
We should definitely do something like that. I think I put in the comments some. I was like, we should do an IRL version of that for sure. 1 year for like. I think they tried to do something like that, but I think that would be pretty dope. Like,
yeah,
we'll do what Nick Fuentes and Andrew Tate did and go do it. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
all
so
right.
I'm sure like
I'll set it up.
Yeah.
But cool. All right, everybody. See you.
Yeah, peace.